Well, I think I'm fighting some glitchy YouTube bugs today, guys. How's everybody doing? Had some problem getting the streams out today. Not sure what's going on with that. Having problems with the thumbnail, and I think the notifications as well. Because it didn't ping on my end, on my sock account. So, if you guys could, check the notifications, see if that's going right. Not 100% sure what's happening. But nevertheless, we got some news to cover. Not a whole lot, but I got some reactions from around the world from the recent protests and whatnot. Also, the ICE raids are continuing, of course. Doesn't look like they're slowing down anytime soon. Hey, Nira, BB, Anna, how you doing? Not really sure what's going on with that, but hey, it is what it is. Also, I wanted to talk a little bit about the Carfu Crane fundraiser coming up. Let me go to their site real quick. Well, let me pull that up. Not Easter Pasanki. What are we doing? Gotta change the hot link on that. Summer campaign is kicking off right here. Here it is. Wow, huge already. $158,000 complete. 1,584 donations. 220,000 euro total goal. Hey, Poogie. Yeah, it looks right now, history of everything's at 51,000 euros raised. That's huge. Ukraine Matters is almost at 40,000 euros, just shy. Anarchy History, 23,000 euros. Emu Squad, one hell of a fella there, 16,000 euros. ATP Geopolitics at 4,400. Sutramimus at 1,300. Lord Hard Thrasher, 1,200. Silicon Curtain, 830 euros. Tanya Fiona's at 643. Baba Yaga, 492. The Shills at 302. Rudy Acosta, 297. On the Edge, 209. And Global Gambit, 74. The sleeper in the group is Sprocket Bicycle. Watch this one take off here soon, guaranteed. That should be an interesting one coming up. I believe that is a bicycle app. Representative CEO of the app, and yeah, he's already done huge things for Ukraine. So we should be starting ours in July, somewhere around July 1st. So please keep that in mind. I believe me and Canty are going in on it still. We're going to try to fundraise an armored vehicle. I'm hearing Canty has tornadoes nearby. He is not live with the tornadoes, which is shocking. I would be out there flying around, but that's just me. Don't fly around in tornadoes. That's bad. But yeah, we'll be joining this one soon, guys. I saw some new videos coming out. They're rolling out vehicles, so it's still going on there. That will be exciting when it happens. Hi, Mitch. How you guys doing today? Got a little reaction going on in no particular order. Went through some social media, found some stuff, and we will react to what we are seeing. First, I want to kick it off with a little coverage from CNN of Tehran protesters on the ground. Kind of get a vibe of how things are going there after the recent attacks in Iran. Yeah, and the reaction on the streets, and like a lot of people said, they felt like it would unite a lot of the people together. That's what we're seeing on the streets of Iran. Unfortunately, causing more geopolitical issues and uncertainty. Without any further ado, let's start with a short video from them to see what they are seeing, and we'll react to that. Cut the music.
CNN's Fred Pleitgen is the first Western journalist to enter Iran since this latest conflict with Israel began. He's there with our Claudia Otto. He attended a massive protest in Tehran where protesters chanted "Death to America, death to Israel." Fred has more from Tehran.
Massive crowds have turned out here in central Tehran to protest against Israel's strikes against Iran, but also against the policies of the Trump administration as well. Many of them were chanting death to America, were chanting death to Israel. We saw them burn American flags and burn Israeli flags. He will punch the United States and Israel in the mouth, he says. Trump, you are threatening my leader, this woman says. Don't you know my nation believes death is sweeter than honey?
So, Tehran is not the only place kind of going wild with this. There's been protests throughout the United States from coast to coast, and also in Asia there's protests. India, they had protests. I believe even Japan had protests all around. They're protesting the attack from the Trump administration on Iran, also from Israel on Iran.
What do you have, Israel? He says, you have nothing. You are occupiers, unreligious. You're killing people, killing women. You kill everyone. You're terrorists. So you can see that anger here being voiced by many of the folks who are walking here in this protest, whereas the Iranian government has said that as long as the Israelis continue their bombing campaign of sites here in Iran, there will be Iranian missiles flying towards Israeli territory. They're calling on President Trump to try and end this direct confrontation. Otherwise, they say, there could be a direct military confrontation between Iran and the United States. The Iranians say it's not something they want, but they also say it's something that they're ready for. Fred Pleitgen, CNN, Tehran.
Former NATO Supreme Allied Commander Admiral James Stavridis joins me now. Admiral, first of all, what do you make of a protest like that in Iran? Obviously, the government the Iranian government wants to see people out on the streets protesting, sending a message, certainly to folks in the United States and perhaps in Israel. You had Prime Minister Netanyahu speaking directly to Iranians several days ago, encouraging them to rise up. That seems difficult, obviously, even though we know there are deep divisions within Iran during a bombing campaign. Not clear a lot of people are going to be rising up against the government. I'm wondering how important for Iran is a demonstration like that.
It's important for the government, which I think you're correct is increasingly brittle, simply because of all the economic pressure the country's been under for much of a decade, as well as obviously the bombing campaign right now. But I think the West and the Israelis would be wise to look at the reaction, for example, of the Ukrainians. When the bombs start dropping, nations tend to pull together. Look at the Brits during World War II. So I think there's probably a...
Many other analysts have been talking about this too. As soon as bombs start hitting the country, it's just going to rally a bunch of people up. There's not going to be counter-protests to it. You're not going to see a bunch of people saying, thanks for bombing our country. I mean, it's just how it is.
Thread of sincerity that runs through those demonstrations.
I'm not saying there's not exceptions. I know there's going to be a few.
As that population reacts in defiance to the bombing of Israel.
We're seeing diplomatic efforts going underway in Europe between European foreign ministers and Iran. Do you put much stock in that? Do you think those are important?
I think they are. Certainly the three primary actors in the drama at the moment are Iran, Israel, and the United States. But there are two other nexi of power that I think are important to keep in mind. One is Europe and the Europeans, hence the importance of these talks in Geneva. Let's face it, Europe, the second largest economy in the world after the United States collectively, stands to lose an awful lot economically. They're within range of Iranian missiles. They have a real stake in what's unfolding here. And I think they could nudge the United States toward a diplomatic solution. The other pair that we don't talk about much are Russia and China, both of whom regard...
Stand by on this, guys. Stand by. Hey, we got live bombs flying in right now. This is Tel Aviv. Is this live? It says it's live. We're going to watch it for a second. I gotta make sure this isn't on the loop. Hold on. I've got another source I can go to. I'm just watching this in the background. This might be on a loop. I guess I gotta check real quick. No, this is not live. This is not live. Fake news. They looped it. Sons of bitches got me. They got me. Because it's light over there right now. Alright, let's see what it really looks like right now over in Tel Aviv. They got me. They got me, guys. They got me. I should head Inquisix up. Inquisix is the way to go. Tel Aviv. Well, hold on now. Oh, yep. So many of them are looping it. God. Nope, birds are chirping. I jumped the gun on that one. Mistakes were made. Birds are chirping. We're still waiting for more. All right, continue.
Iran is an important client state, and both have tools they can use to try and push toward a diplomatic solution. So let's hope all of that pressure collectively somehow moves this toward a diplomatic solution, although at the moment it looks more like military action ahead to me.
I've talked to some Israelis who are supportive of what the government here is doing, and they're concerned about losing momentum. They feel like there has been successful strikes by Israel against Iran. Israel has said that they kind of have freedom of movement in the skies, though not complete, because obviously we saw missiles being launched into Israel today as well as yesterday. But from a military standpoint, is momentum something that might be lost with this pause by the Trump administration?
I don't think so. Given the fact that it's only 2 weeks maximum, don't forget President Trump said within the next 2 weeks I'll make a decision. He didn't say I'm pausing for 2 weeks, then I'll announce a decision. I think
God, I'm so sick of hearing in 2 weeks. It's terrible.
More action could frankly come at any time. And 2 weeks is not a long time. In fact, I think it actually improves the chances of success in the mission because the U.S. is putting even more forces in the region to conduct a strike successfully if the U.S. decides to go ahead and do it. So I don't see this 2 week interregnum as a momentum breaker. I look at it, hopefully, I suppose, as one last opportunity, kind of last exit before the tunnel for diplomacy to have a chance.
If the U.S.'s role, if there is going to be one, a military role in offensive operations, is to target and use the weapons only they have against this Fordo facility, does that actually meet the military objectives of
Thank you, BB.
of Israel, the elimination of Iran's nuclear facilities? Because there's obviously concern that over what we may not know, where enriched plutonium may have been moved to. These things are moved around with some regularity. There could be sites that we are unaware of, that Israel is unaware of as well, without actually having forces on the ground inspecting these sites. Can you really be sure Iran's nuclear facilities have been destroyed?
You cannot be. And this is what you and I are old enough to remember Don Rumsfeld. He used to talk about known unknowns. And that's what you're describing. Yeah. Iran's a huge country, 2.5 times the size of Texas, mountainous. It has a population of 90 million. There's an awful lot of space that Iran could use, and they have a lot of resources in terms of population.
This report's 2 days old from CNN, but it's a good listen.
So at the end of the day, a single bunker-busting bomb would be a feel-good moment. I think it would be a successful mission. But those known unknowns of, are there other programs? What would the response be of Iran lashing back? Would they try to close the Strait of Hormuz? Would they attack U.S. forces in the region? There are many known unknowns that ought to mitigate against this strike, at least until we've given diplomacy further opportunity.
Yeah, and of course the unknown is one bunker buster bomb enough? Would it take multiple? Would that even work? These have not been used in a situation like this. Admiral, I appreciate your...
So I don't think we've actually had a report yet on how effective the bombs were. I know they dug, their base was 80 foot deep or 80 meters deep, and the bunker busters go 60 meters deep. So I'm not sure if they reinforce that or what. So I don't think we've seen a report yet on the actual damage that has occurred to the actual facilities, whether or not it made them inoperable. I know we've had reports, but I haven't seen anything. Hey, we're going to tune in real quick to Canty. He is out there. He's streaming live, doing a little tornado watch. Let's see what we got here.
And people wonder why I wanted to move out to the country.
He's got crickets.
Yeah, I know Jiminy was a cricket and Geppetto was the puppet maker.
He's definitely got flashes of lightning in the background there. God, how terrifying would that be? Not being able to see shit.
Yeah, if you see a really good lightning strike, be sure to clip it if YouTube's letting you do clips of the stream.
Storm Center County looting live. Live reaction, folks. Live reaction. Hey, Matt.
There's a bunch going on down south, but it's just too far away or behind trees.
Ooh, that's some good lightning there. God, it's... Ooh, jeez.
Oh, that was a wicked one.
Let's see how far away the tornadoes are. Or you can hear the thunder roll in the background.
Yeah, it may be going too far to the east before it comes far enough north for me to get a really, really good light show. I don't think Russia has enough equipment to help Iran and keep the invasion going in Ukraine. I doubt Russia will help Iran very much. China will probably help, but through back doors.
Yeah, you know, tornadoes out my window.
North Korea is the only one that really...
Tornadoes out my window. I'll react to Russia and Iran. What's a tornado?
More because we just don't know how committed they are to helping Russia. I mean... If they're sending everything they can spare to Russia, then yeah, there's no North Korea help for Iran.
Nerves of steel, that Canty. Nerves of steel. All right, speaking of Iran, we'll get back into it a little bit. We'll keep an eye on Canty there, make sure everything's fine. Looks like he's okay. But tornadoes in the area, or tornadoes in the area. I don't know much about tornadoes except we don't have them here. Well, there was one in Sacramento a few years ago. Did a little damage, but nothing like they get in the Midwest. Absolutely not. We're going to go a little more. Here's New York protesting from the missile strikes in Iran. It's a whole hell of a lot of people at Times Square. Times Square is such a freaking crazy place to be. I remember being there after a Broadway show. We watched Monty Python Spam-A-Lot on Broadway. It was badass. Right before they closed it. Good amount of people there in New York. They took off. Oh, here's a little more of the demonstration in NYC.
Donald Trump has dropped 31,000-pound bombs and sent cruise missiles at civilian nuclear reactors in Iran. Then had the audacity to come out to the public and say, now is the time for peace. Only the West Donald Trump has dropped
more protests going on as well.
The Israel-Iran war has triggered demonstrations across the globe, with many condemning Israel's preemptive strikes on Iran. This, as the U.S. continues to weigh its direct involvement in the Israeli operation against Iran. In Tehran, people assembled for a rally against Israel, burning Israeli and American flags and chanting anti-Israel slogans.
Never. For a lifetime we declared, and our brave commanders who were martyred declared, that we will destroy Israel. Now the ball is in our court. We will not retreat. We are here.
In Lebanon's Beirut and its southern suburbs, demonstrators gathered near Friday prayers, rallying in support with Iran. Demonstrators held Iranian, Lebanese and Hezbollah flags as they chanted slogans against Israel and the United States of America. In the U.S., meanwhile, anti-war demonstrators gathered outside the White House to demonstrate the latest exchange of missile strikes between...
At least with Ukraine war, there is a side that has good guys. You know, here's the thing about that. Let me react to that. The Middle East is difficult. It is very difficult. And for some people it doesn't seem that way. For me, it is very difficult. And so many people are attracted to this right now, the conflict over there, because of faith-based religion, writings on a book, and they're ignoring a clear-cut, black and white genocide from Russia into Ukraine. And it's absolutely so frustrating to me that people weren't taking to the streets when this happened like they are for Iran globally around the world. I don't ever remember seeing people just completely go out there and say, you know, fuck Russia, you need to help more, we need to stop them, like to this extent. I'm sure there was protests like that, but most of what I've seen has been really close-knit rallies. And just people haven't, it's like, I just don't understand why. It's the most clear-cut example of good versus evil since World War II. And, God, it's so frustrating. I know everybody in my chat feels the same way. I know all you guys do. There's not a single person here that isn't just, like, completely, like, destroyed inside by it. It absolutely rips me apart to think about. You know, I've been watching, I haven't shared a lot of the footage from the bombings and whatnot, just because I don't know. I got to be careful, and B, it really, I'll get super emotional. I can share a couple. I'll share a couple. They pulled a dog out of some rubble, really kind of got to me. But god damn it, dude. Why weren't people like this when it started over there? And yeah, that's my reaction to that. It is frustrating, it is disheartening, but we have to keep supporting Ukraine. Another thing that this is gonna be a little bit of a downer too, but since we're being a little down, reacting to that, our buddy Rowan, aka Dodger, ended up back in the hospital. He had the symptoms of blood flow stoppage. I think it's called a schismatic attack. That like simulates sort of like a stroke. He is doing well, from what I understand. The doctors are watching over him closely. Everything seems to be fine. I checked in on him yesterday and the day before, but they are kind of monitoring him. I'm not sure if it was from the drone attack where he had a concussion and he got stuck in the front line for a very long time. But he is back in the hospital. So his wishes. He's doing okay. He's doing fine. I'll keep you guys updated on him. So he should be okay. I know he has his VLK here in a little while, which is his medical assessment to go back to the front. But I don't know. I think he'll be okay. But I'll let you guys know as soon as he lets me know. But yeah, that happened. It's just more tough news from Ukraine. So I'll keep you guys posted. But we're going to continue on with more of the protests. We'll get into, we'll talk a little more about the Car for Ukraine fundraiser coming up as well. Let me pause the music and go on.
Between Iran and Israel. Dozens of demonstrators waved Palestinian and Iranian flags, chanted slogans, and held placards as well in support with Iran in the ongoing conflict.
BB, I'll reach out to him and see what he needs, if he needs anything. Right now, I think he just needs rest, but we'll find out.
They rather demanded a complete end to U.S. and Israeli military actions in West Asia. The Israel-Iran...
Here are some more takes. We'll skip that one for now. We'll go into a little more of the protests, and then we'll skip back to a few of these takes. This is in London.
I recently just returned from Gaza on a medical mission. I was there for about 5 weeks. I was there when the night the ceasefire broke. I was there the night that they killed 200 children in the space of 2 hours. I was there when they executed the paramedics. And we're here today to make some noise and let the UK government know that we can see what's going on and we know what's going on. And the governments might be silent, but the people, we're not silent.
I'm a mother and I'm an artist, and I come to all of these marches, and why wouldn't you come? People don't come out on the marches today. They need to really question, what are they doing to protect humanity? What are they doing to protect children, all children? All children are our children.
Yeah, maybe that's another take too, is that people are just used to Russia being Russia and the rest of the world. And it was really shocking to a lot of us here in the United States. Maybe they're just not used to seeing this this level of barbarism like we're seeing in Gaza with Israel from a Western-backed country and a Western-backed society. Maybe that's why it's more shocking to a lot of people. That would make a little more sense to my brain if I'm coping.
I don't have specific information about the UK, but as far as the US is definitely complicit in these genocidal, bloodthirsty acts against Iran. They initiated the agreement talks, but before the meeting took place, Israel illegally invaded Iran.
This is outrageous, and we must get our government to take notice, and we cannot let the Americans come in on the side of Israel, get coaxed into this war so that we can have another genocide in another country. If it's Iran, after that it's Pakistan, after that it's Turkey. It'll never stop. The Israelis will never stop. We have to stop them.
More from around the world. That was UK, United Kingdom protest. Let's see where else we got. This is in Los Angeles. Definitely different vibes than it was earlier in the week with the ICE raid protests. It looks like it's blended together. I see Chinga La Migra, but I also see babies with strollers and kids out now. Well, so a lot going on there. Let's see where else this is. This is in South Africa, Seoul. Or South Korea. Oh, what the hell was I saying? South Korea, Seoul. It's always nice to see people making friends with the United States during this current administration, isn't it? Obviously, people are pissed from around the world. I wasn't expecting to see South Korea up in here, but yeah, there it is. This is feeling more like a global conflict every day, though. It really is. Like, every day. Here's a little more from New York from the front of the protest. What do we do? What do we do? What do we do? Tehran is under attack! They don't show any of this on the news anymore, so my parents' generation is pretty much in the dark on all this. Well, thank God for channels like this. Hit the like and subscribe if you could. Share it out. Make sure the notification is hit, guys, please. I know my last couple streams are getting lower views than before, and I'm not sure what. Well, it might be because I was covering the ICE raid protest, and that was like everybody was tuning in on that one, so it's slowed down a little bit. Also, guys, pinned in the top of the chat is the new gaming channel. I'm not doing like crazy stuff on there all the time. I'm gonna get in it when I can, but I'm moving my games over there. Little Magic the Gathering, little DayZ. We're gonna play some Arma. There's a new DayZ map on Arma coming out that I checked out. It's a little slow right now, but it should pick up. So please subscribe to the channel. It's pinned as well. What do we do? What do we do? Dad, what do we do? Dad, what do we do? I never thought I'd say this either, but I'm really grateful that TikTok exists in the United States. I was totally anti-TikTok, and Kim, the advocate that's been on her stream a couple times, turned me on to some stuff on there, and so I'm like, oh shoot, I better check it out. It looks like there's a lot of good content. Holy crap, there's a lot of good content. I guess it is what you make out of the algorithm. They still throw some crazy stuff in there, like weird advertisements, and I get these weird MAGA ads, and and shit like that, and other just completely like bonkers stuff. I have no clue why it's popping up on my feed. I just scroll past it, but a lot of helpful stuff anyways. So I'm really glad I found TikTok.
The purpose of the protest is to oppose the American design of war against Iran. America declared unilaterally the war against Iran.
Hinahamon natin si President Ferdinand Marcos.
So what the US did is not just an escalation of conflict, not just an undermining of peace, but also it will cause suffering in the different parts of the world that will be felt by ordinary consumers and ordinary citizens.
Yeah, gas prices are about to spike up, especially with the Strait of, is it called Hortiz? I gotta look it up. But yeah, they're closing the strait. Gas prices should inflate here in July and August. Kind of makes me wonder if that's why Trump was already fucking around in Qatar. They're talking to them to see what they could do about the strait and the oil prices. But I feel increased escalation happening. Hormuz? Is it called Hormuz? Someone correct me. I'll check it out here in a second.
Who is imperialist? Number one terrorist! Number one! Aggression! Act of intervention! Itong guerra!
Strait of Hormuz. Yes, Strait of Hormuz. Thank you. Still learning Middle East, guys.
もっと強くアメリカとイスラエルを非難するべきだし。
Dude, now the Japanese are even saying shit. Like one of our closest allies, man. What the fuck?
を非難するべきだし。
Go back. I want to see
もっと
that.
強く。もっと強
The Japanese government should be criticizing the U.S. and Israel
くアメリカとイスラエルを非難するべきだし。
much more strongly.
本当にやっぱり
Japan is the only country in the world to have suffered atomic bombings.
唯一世界で被爆国なんだ
So
か
we really need to understand the horror of nuclear weapons.
ら、その核の恐ろしさをもっともっと
More deeply and to make the world aware of it.
知っていかなきゃいけないし、知らせていかなきゃいけないし。
So they're obviously upset. They're burning little effigies of Trump worldwide now. This is in San Diego, I believe, right here.
Good morning, San Diego. America's pissed off, people. This is Waterfront Park at the county building in San Diego, California. We are here to protest Donald Trump, his administration. Trump must go.
Well, there it is. More protesting happening in the United States as well and globally. We got more. Also, this is more from NYC.
We want justice, you say how? We want justice, you say how? No war with Iran! 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 We want justice, you say how?
NYC showing up today. Let's see where else. This is multiple shots here. Chicago, LA, and Washington, D.C.
How many kids can you kill today? Israel moms, USA pay! Israel moms, USA pay! Another nickel, another dime! No more money for Israel's crime! No more money for Israel's crime! Another nickel, another dime! No more money for Israel's crime! No more money for Israel's crime! Up with liberation! And down with the occupation! Down with the Palestine! And the genocide! And the genocide!
I haven't seen one of these videos anywhere else. I literally have to search for this shit, guys. Like, I don't know. I had to actually search up Iranian protests to even know that there was protests of the attacks in Iran. I don't think there's a single mainstream news that's covering it in the United States right now, even though it blows my mind why not. But I could be wrong. I don't watch a lot of mainstream news. If you'd imagine why. Maybe I should peek in a little more. Let's see where else we were.
Now, we are in the Iranian capital, in Tehran, and we've spoken to a lot of folks here on the street, and a lot of them say they are very...
This is today.
...angry at the United States. They voiced that anger to us and also absolutely ripped into President Trump. They attacked us, she says. We were living our normal lives and they attacked us. If someone strikes the United States, would they not answer? Of course they would. We're not doing anything but defending ourselves. Iranian people are people of honor, and we will definitely give a strong response, this man says. We will stand strongly like we have been for the past 40 years. There is no one dirtier than Trump, he says. First he gives us 2 weeks' time, but then after 2 days strikes us. We do not have nuclear weapons, so why does he strike us? Such a guy only thinks about his own benefit. I support the supreme leader with my life, he says. I approve of him, really, because he's moving forward for the sake of our land.
Eek. Okay, well, that's their feelings, at least for the people that they interviewed there. Not really a fan of the supreme leader of Iran because of all the Shahed drones slamming into Ukrainian buildings. So definitely mixed feelings on that one for me. Yeah, that is my reaction to that part in particular for what that man said at the end, with just absolutely in love with the Ayatollah.
They were also out protesting in San Francisco today. NBC Bay Area's Christy Smith was there for that demonstration.
People gathered at
Throw it in the Discord,
with
Mitch.
signs and messages this afternoon.
We're not going to be fooled. We are anti-war. We stand with the Iranian people, and we want to prevent more death, more destruction, and we refuse to get pulled into another global war.
And we're out here today because we saw yesterday Donald Trump announce that he has dropped bombs in Iran, violating Iran's sovereignty, and in a very clear act of aggression to escalate.
Late Saturday, the United States carried out strikes on 3 Iranian nuclear sites. Many Democratic leaders are questioning the legality of the attacks. Some demonstrators also feel that way.
I couldn't believe he'd gone that far, unconstitutionally. It's insane.
President Trump urged Iran to move towards peace in its war with Israel. On NBC's Meet the Press today, Vice President J.D. Vance said the United States is not at war with Iran, but with Iran's nuclear program.
What we did is we destroyed the Iranian nuclear program. I think we set that program back substantially, and we did it without endangering the lives of the American pilots. That's an incredible thing, and I think we all should be proud.
Earlier today in San Francisco, a different demonstration was held.
Saying a profound no to the Islamic Republic regime in Iran and saying that this is not our war.
Some demonstrators are still concerned with family in the region.
So there are also in these groups, they're like complete anti-war, tanky socialists also, and they're I don't want to say they're prevalent in the San Francisco area. San Francisco is extremely diverse, but there are also that intertwined in this movement, complete anti-war. That's including not going to war with or escalating war in Russia and Ukraine. They're not supportive of the war in Ukraine. They don't think we should be involved in it. So keep that in mind as well when you watch this. I'm not saying all these people are, but there's definitely an element mixed into it.
I didn't know about the Fordo nuclear site at all. So you're frantically Googling like what even is going on there. But yeah, the government keeps a lot of stuff secret on purpose. Every day you hear about missile strikes back and forth. It's like within 20 minutes of where your family lives.
Back at the afternoon rally, people were frustrated and speaking out.
Michelle Marr, you follow Greg Terry, Jake Bro, Merck, ATP, Geopolitics. I would also suggest there's this one other person on there who I really adore. I think he puts in like 100% positive effort to everything he does because he's extremely passionate, and his name is Renegade Chungus.
The violence just became
Oh, wait, and also Dylan Burns. Dylan Burns is amazing.
violence. This is frustrating. It's really frustrating.
In San Francisco, Christy Smith, NBC Bay Area News.
They were also
Little
out
from
protesting.
The Bay Area, little from the Bay Area. These hit different. This hits different than the ICE protests, doesn't it? I feel it does. Speaking of ICE protests, we got a lot going on there too. Before we switch over to that, I want to get a little take here. Here is MAGA podcaster Dave Smith.
Donald Trump should be impeached and removed for this. All of his supporters should turn on him.
Let me repeat again. This is MAGA podcaster Dave Smith.
Donald Trump should be impeached and removed for this. All of his supporters should turn on him. It's the absolute betrayal of everything that he ran and campaigned on and everything that he stood for. Iran has done.
I want to get that as my phone ringtone. Philip Ittner is great too. Absolutely. Philip Ittner was in the last fundraiser for us. Oh, also Nick Suter from In Time. Shout out to Nick. Nick is a goat. He is a goat on fire. So don't forget him.
Done over and over again. But now we've pushed them to the point where they probably don't feel that they have the option not to respond. And Donald Trump telling them to come back to the negotiating table now is a joke.
Yeah.
I mean, what a impotent leader to be sitting there talking about coming back to the negotiating table. It's like sitting after Pearl Harbor and telling FDR, now's the time to go negotiate with the
Dude, straight up. Straight up. He hits hard on this one, and it is factual. Like, let's go negotiate now. Holy crap. Negotiate now. After we struck him? Come on, guys. Come on. You know what I think happened is when he said 2 weeks for Iran. Hold on while I refuel this little thing I got here. I think what happened was after he said 2 weeks in Iran and everybody went taco Trump, I don't think it was a strategic plan to hit them. I think he got pissed off and was sick of hearing taco. Because he's a delicate little fragile weak man. And I think that fueled him. I don't think his national security advisor wanted this to happen. I don't think the Pentagon wanted it to happen. I think he wanted it to happen. And I think that Tulsi Gabbard was correct in her statement saying that Iran does not have a nuclear weapon yet, even though I don't trust her for shit because of the way she handled Syria and sucking off Assad the entire time with the power of aloha. But I think he felt left out and kind of feeble, and he has a very thin skin, and reacted for a moment of boosting his base, because we all know MAGA loves it when people die in other countries. They boast about it. Matter of fact, I clipped something from my personal Facebook from this guy that I used to know from a town that I worked in, and he wrote, and he is extreme MAGA. He called me one day when I was talking about supporting Ukraine and the reasons why, and threatened me and said, if you ever come back to this town again, your ass is mincemeat pretty much, and blah blah blah, this and that, and you couldn't make it here, blah blah blah, and all this terrible shit. And I called him. I was like, boop, hit that fucking phone call real quick. And he's like, oh hey man, what's up? After threatening my life and saying I'm gonna get my ass beat, and oh, what's going on? And oh hey, wow, you got a lot of hate in you, man. Let's see if I can kind of talk you through what's going on here. And they explained to him the global position the United States had at the time under Biden with Ukraine and how it was important for our economy. And he went straight to the normal talking points. We shouldn't be at war with any other countries, blah blah blah, this and that. And I explained to him how supporting Ukraine benefits our economy, and blah blah blah. And said, so you don't want a bigger military, you want a smaller one? Is that what you're saying? Well, I'm not saying that. Okay, then I said it specifically. I said, so you want places like Iran getting a nuclear weapon and chant death to America? Well, I don't want that either. I just don't think we should be involved in other stuff, right? And I'm like, okay. We shouldn't be involved in other wars, right? That was the take, right? Yesterday, 11:50 p.m. Time to unleash the biggest and most severe punishment to Iran. Every bomb we have, decimate Iran. Kill every fucking one of them. Yeah. It's a cult, guys. It's a fucking cult. They don't give a fuck. They have no policy or stance. They follow the supreme leader. They go where the wind blows because that's their man. And oh boy, it's pathetic. So to see a gentleman like this speaking out finally against it, it doesn't necessarily give me hope, because I'm sure they'll just go where the wind blows next time. I'm sure there's money behind this gentleman. He's probably making big bucks, and that's swaying his view. But if he can pull some people out of that to think that have been following this man, more power to him for speaking up against it. And that's what I got to say about that.
Japanese. Right. Negotiations are over now. The time for negotiations was before this. And so, yeah, Donald Trump, listen, man, I supported him this last year. I apologize for doing so. It was a bad calculation. At the time, it seemed like the right one. But he should be impeached and removed for this one. Wow. And not on some not on some ridiculous Nancy Pelosi. Of course, the Congress will never do it because they're all a bunch of, corrupt hacks.
This is the one thing they support. This is yeah.
Donald Trump should be impeached and removed for this. All of his supporters should turn on him. It's the absolute betrayal of everything that he ran and campaigned on and everything that he stood for. And I will say, despite the fact that, Donald Trump supporters have been labeled like a cult following, and that certainly is true for a percentage of his supporters, he is going to lose his coalition over this. I know I don't just speak for myself.
We have a MAGA guy speaking MAGA shit, now talking against MAGA, saying, yeah, it's a fucking cult.
I say there are a lot of us who simply will not go along with this. So it's just a devastating mistake. By the way, on top of that, he's also going to lose the deportation fight because of this. Because right now he needed all the political capital he could have to turn that, you got a majority support for deportations, but the minority is very mobilized and they're out and they're protesting all around the country. He needed all of his political capital for that move. So here's what we got. The neocons win. More war abroad and, bomb the world and invite the world. No matter who you vote for, you always get John McCain.
See, this guy sounds more like a tanky than he does. He's definitely on that tanky aspect of MAGA. No war, bring it all home. The Marjorie Taylor Greene effect, if you will. Yeah, I'm sure his belief system is completely corrupt. But for this man to be coming out and saying, you know what, he done fucked up, I want nothing to do with this. Okay. Okay. It doesn't give me a lot of hope that they'll support Ukraine or anything that we care about, but MAGA fighting MAGA isn't going to ruin my day. It gives me a lot of content for sure. Hi, Kirsty Kara. How you doing? Salt, how you doing, Salt? We'll continue on. We got more stuff. We have more. This gentleman right here.
This has given green light to Russia and China. Taiwan should be absolutely petrified now because these guys have given absolutely no credence to international law. China can turn around and say, bugger off, we're going to do what we want, just like you did. And, what's to stop them? What's to stop them using the same argument? This lawlessness, this absolute damn right to kind of say, we can preemptively strike anybody we like. Okay, well, in that case, Netanyahu's threatened Pakistan. Well, should Pakistan drop a nuclear bomb on Israel? Come on, absurd, obnoxious stuff is this? Is this the politics of playground children? And we've got the most incredible weapons in the hands of idiots. Absolute idiots who wake up in the middle of the night and say, oh, what should we do? Order a cheeseburger and bomb Iran. This has given green light to...
So a little bit about the post down below there as well. See if I can find that saved Yeah, here we go. He's got that picture saved down there. I have a little breaking about it too, that I was able to locate.
Greater than we have witnessed over the last 8 days. Remember, there are many targets left. Tonight's was the most difficult of them all, by far, and perhaps the most lethal. But if peace does not come quickly, we will go after those other targets with precision, speed, and skill. Most of them can be taken out in a matter of minutes. There's no military in the world that could have done what we did tonight, not even close. There has never been a military that could do what took place just a little while ago. Tomorrow, General Kane, Secretary of Defense, Pete Hegseth will have a press conference at 8 a.m. at the Pentagon. And I want to just thank everybody, and in particular, God. I want to just say we love you, God, and we love our great military. Protect them. God bless the Middle East. God bless Israel, and God bless America. Thank you very much. Thank you. There will be either peace or there will be tragedy for Iran.
There are a few platforms in life that bring me joy. There are few platforms in life that bring me joy. Absolute joy. Threads? Threads is amazing. It is the most underplayed app, underwatched app, underappreciated app in the fucking world. And out of all the clips on Threads, that one was like top of my populate. I'm like, oh my god, okay. I don't play a lot of Threads. That one is going on the stream. And we'll probably do more Threads takes later. But that one is beautiful. God, thank you, Threads. Thank you, Threads, for what you're doing. Standing up against the tyrannical maniacs in our administration and bringing us a little sense of humor and normality to this fucking crazy ass world. Let's see what else we got. We got ice raids. This is gonna go back and forth, guys. I didn't sort it today. We're gonna go a little skippity. There was a lot of ice raids and information here. So just like anybody, anything else that I ever show, it's up and down roller coaster. Here we go. So this is Santa Ana City Council meeting June 18th. They were letting people in with plenty of chair available. So there's an issue here at Santa Ana Council meeting. Hey, Canty. Canty, stay out of the way of the tornado, please. Don't be weird. Don't be me. Okay? Be safe, please.
That's not Peter Lopez's daughter. Hey, they're not letting people in because people are holding seats as well. She's a peaceful member of this community. They're not letting us in. Look how many there are of you guys. Look how many there are. Andrade, why is she being arrested? I have the right to be here. I have the right to be here. I have the right to be here. That's a mess what she's doing this. I got a city council meeting. Fuck Valerie Mesqua!
More disorder in LA, Southeast, Santa Ana. Video evidence, get badge numbers and names, file a lawsuit quickly. I say these elected officials won't let the people speak freely. Then next elections, vote them out. Renegade Chuggus, you should have had my stream in the corner. Storm Sitter Canteen. I already did, my dude. I was already reacting to you. You're a step behind me, sir. Step behind me.
It's a horrible display of waste. Rotting fruit and vegetables scattered throughout this market. Store after store here closed for now. Each with plenty to sell, but no one dare come here to buy these days. Immigrants usually fill this marketplace, but since ICE agents arrived in downtown LA, it's empty. They say profits have flatlined.
Dropped a good 50% of what it is normally here. Obviously, people are scared, so therefore, people aren't coming into the market to purchase, to go out and sell.
This marketplace sells produce not only to people, but also to grocery stores and restaurants.
Well, I feel like a lot of businesses, if it continues like this, we'll probably see a lot of businesses shut down because of this. A lot of maybe like restaurants, a lot of business-owned restaurants are gonna close.
Folks at the marketplace warning you, the consumer, if the ICE raids continue, to be ready for even bigger sticker shock when you go grocery shopping. It's a horrible display of waste. Rotting.
It looks like we're boosting the economy, huh? More great news coming out of LA.
Hi everyone, this is Congresswoman Yasemin Ansari. I'm here in Eloy and just wrapped up a long day, and I want to run you through what happened, what I learned, why I was here, and next steps. So we know that Donald Trump has pledged mass deportations, and they are already underway. He's enacting a very cruel immigration policy. We know that in many cases, people have
Wait,
not...
you've been there used to pick up on 4th Street? Wow.
Had access to due process, and even U.S. citizens or green card holders have been wrongfully detained. We also know that right in our backyard in Arizona's 3rd District at the Immigration Court, ICE has been showing up to people's immigration appointments and detaining them and bringing them to Eloy. So I came here to Eloy today as a member of Congress. We have the authority to conduct oversight and to show up and ask for a tour of these detention facilities. So this morning we got here and we were granted a tour of Eloy, and it was relatively a smooth process. We got into the facility immediately. We're walked into a room where an immigration proceeding was taking place and an individual was offering to self-deport. We got to see all across the facility from where people are housed, women, men, where people eat, recreation areas, and the rest. I will say the most enlightening part of this experience was the opportunity I had to speak with women while they were eating lunch, and I left feeling sick to my stomach about what I heard.
Yeah, she did say Eloy. So I was sickened by the testimonies I heard today of inhumane treatment at the #Eloy, #ICE, #detention center. I'll be taking this straight to the #Trump administration, demanding answers and more independent oversight.
Heard from these women about the conditions that they face every single day at Eloy. What started as a conversation with multiple women, and I was with my district director who speaks fluent Spanish, and we were able to have a really substantial conversation with these women. They told us about dehumanizing, derogatory, racist behavior that they see from some of the guards and some of the staff that they have to interact with every single day. Horrific stories about one case where someone made them go outside and walk around in a circle for 2 hours without any water, and said things to them like, "This is the price of the American dream."
Made them march outside in Eloy, Arizona, and said, "This is the price for the American dream." Canty, how hot does it get in Eloy in June?
I was disgusted to hear that. I was disgusted to hear these women.
May. Okay, May. This was done in May.
Recount
May 29th.
their horrifying experiences with lack of medical attention. AC issues were another big one. They told us stories about how they may not have had AC for a couple weeks and then keep asking for AC as it's Arizona and it's hot, and then AC is turned on so...
Canty says it gets 120 plus degrees in Eloy, Arizona in late May, June. They're making them go outside and march for 2 hours in the sun, in the heat, without any water. Reportedly to Representative Yas Ansari. I got a problem with that. I think we all should have a problem with that. And this isn't the first time that we've heard reports like this coming from Arizona. I believe it's Yuma. There's areas in there. There's an outside Maricopa County has an outside jail, I believe, where they live in tents in the desert. No AC or nothing. So this is like common practice in Arizona. Like, people need to really speak up against this shit because this is beyond inhumane. It's cruel. And it's like Russian level cruelty in the United States. That's happened for a long time. So keep that in mind.
Vigorously that they're freezing at night and then getting sick. This was not just a couple people. This was over a dozen women who recounted the same things. I talked to a DACA recipient who's lived in Phoenix most of her life. Her family members are citizens. She had a traffic violation. She's at Eloy. Talked to another woman who lives in Chandler, whose husband is a U.S. citizen. She was going to get her green card and she was detained by ICE. And then there are many people here who were trying to come to the United States to flee persecution and are here as well. So I'm extremely concerned about what is happening here. The juxtaposition between what ICE will tell you and show you versus what you hear from the people who are actually living here is significant, it's severe, and I believe the people who I spoke with today about what they're experiencing. A huge part of the problem is that the Donald Trump administration has tried to eliminate oversight entirely from this process. So prior to the inauguration of Donald Trump, there used to be legal services here, and organizations like the Florence Immigration Project would come in and out freely, have access to the list of people who were going through.
Tent City was eliminated. So Tent City, the home of pink undies and moldy bologna sandwiches, Tent City was closed in 2017 after Sheriff Arpaio was out. Okay. So they got rid of that completely. Now they have regular prisons. I mean, obviously there's still issues we're having at the ICE facilities, right? Because if they're making them march out there in the heat, I don't feel like getting rid of one sheriff really solved the issue.
Through these processes, we're able to provide them with know your rights information. Those programs have been eliminated, so it's much harder for nonprofits like this to even function now. So people are really desperate. They're really scared. They're living in what can only be described as a prison. These facilities are run by massive companies like Geo Group and others, Core Civic, who are making.
So Core Civic and Geo Group just had a massive funding from the Trump administration too. So when Trump was talking about Alcatraz, bringing Alcatraz back, what he actually was talking about was the deals he was cutting with Core Civic and Geo Group. They're building prisons, just like that System of a Down song. They're trying to build a prison, and it's fucking true. They had massive contracts with them, massive, for detention facilities, and they're like subhuman standards.
Record profits from this, and my number one priority, obviously I'm vehemently against Donald Trump's mass deportation and immigration policies. But if they are going to have these policies in place, we need to make sure that these facilities are humane, that people are being treated with dignity and respect, that they have access to counsel. And
okay,
lawyer.
LJ.
The system would
LJ, hold on. I think I remember what you're talking about. I'll look it up while this plays.
Much more efficient if people had access to legal services. So we will be following up with ICE. We will be writing a letter detailing the accounts that we heard today from the really brave women who told their stories and asked us to share their stories. They are desperate for people to know what they are going through and what's going on in these facilities. We're going to continue to demand better from this administration, and I really hope that other members of Congress do this as well, because oversight is so limited right now, and this administration is trying to get away with operating in such a cruel and inhumane way with no accountability and no oversight. So I learned a lot today, and we'll keep you posted as we learn more and do more work on this issue.
Yeah, LJ, I'll look it up. I know you guys, I've been getting a lot of stuff. I've been, full disclosure, this time of the year for me right now is the busiest time in the freaking world for me at my job. Busiest. From here on to like June 1st, I am balls to the wall at my job. So I am like hanging on with a thread right now. Taking care of the 3 kids, going to work, god awful hours. I'm pretty sure next week I'm scheduled 4 a.m. in the morning to 5 p.m. at night for like a week straight. This is the worst time of the year for me for what I do. So yes, I will definitely review as soon as I get done in my real life. I get caught up, but I'm pushing what I can do. I remember watching that video on the way home, and I was listening to it, and it had to do with Core Civic. So I will try to find it in the background and play it. Forgive me if I can't, but I will do my best right now. On to the next one. Jolly Good Ginger has something to say. I love this guy. Oh my God, he's amazing.
What are sleeper cells? I spent 13 years in military intelligence. Specifically, I was in human intelligence, so I'm very familiar with sleeper cells. Now, I think that most people understand the basic concept. These are Iranian agents living here in America that are just waiting for the word to attack us. However, I don't think enough people have thought through what that looks like. It's not just somebody hiding out in a house waiting for the word to go attack us or put a bomb somewhere. These are people who have been living here any number of years, who have integrated themselves into our communities, into churches, into synagogues, into mosques, into our community, our community centers, and our workplaces. And I don't just mean the janitor who's mopping the floor waiting for the work.
Keeper of the list, I only strip on my gaming channel. Guys, make sure to subscribe to the gaming channel, hit the notification.
It could be the CEO, the CFO, it could be the admin, it could be the middle management, it could be anybody in our workplace, it could be anybody in our government, right? We don't know what a sleeper agent looks like. Now, the FBI is going to tell you they know who these people are, and they don't. If they knew who they were, if we definitively knew that's a sleeper agent, we would get them out. Now, there's some tracking that happens to be able to exploit the cell, but that's a different conversation. But we don't know who they are. Just understand that. Now, do I necessarily believe that there's 100% sleeper agents that are going to be activated by Iran because CBS got this from a source? No, I don't know that to be true. Now, what I do know to be true is there's sleeper agents from Iran in America. Whether or not they activate them, I don't know. But let me give you my analysis. The number one way to attack America from the inside, to attack our homeland, is through sleeper agents. Because the reason we never get attacked is logistically it's a nightmare to attack America. Now, you might think an attack means a bomb. You might think an attack means, some big, immaculate thing. It could be any sort of attack. It could be attacking our electric grid. It could be attacking our internet, our networks. It could be any type of cyber attack. It could be, releasing all of our information out to the world to compromise Americans. Listen, an attack looks like all kinds of different ways.
Okay, I found it. LJ Boone, explain to us who Mary Trump is, please, in the chat.
Not just a bomb somewhere. It could be an attack on our military assets and targets, because sleeper agents could also be in our military. But again, this could also just be a psychological ploy by Iran to create discord and panic amongst the American people. But either way, the feeling of unsurety that you're feeling right now, the feeling of being unsafe that you're feeling right now, our president did that. Donald Trump did that. And I want to remind you, he did it for no good goddamn reason at all.
This Jolly Good Ginger. I really like that guy. He's been at the protests and everything. He's putting in work. Something to inspire to be? Okay, Yori did. Yori explained above. LJ posted a video to Discord. Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna play it. I found the video, guys, right here.
I want to talk about something that isn't getting more coverage, and I genuinely do not understand why. Maybe it's because Donald's
Okay, Mary Trump, daughter of Trump's oldest brother.
brinksmanship vis-a-vis the Iran conflict is sucking up all of the oxygen. But this story should be on the front page of every newspaper in America. So far during our research, coverage has been restricted to local news outlets, a handful of international news sources, and news outlets already targeted by the Trump regime, like PBS. Because what we're seeing looks like the Trump regime is using taxpayer dollars literally to pay back the private prison companies that bankrolled his reelection. And they're doing this in part by ramping up immigration arrests of non-criminals in order to fill those prisons.
So she's talking about a straight quid pro quo between the prison companies and Donald Trump's electoral process, where he received donations from them.
If everything appears to be as it seems, this is not just unethical. It is a textbook example of quid pro quo corruption. And the most disturbing part?
So quid pro quo, if you don't know, is this for that. If you do this, I'll give you that. And that's pretty much what the Trump administration has been running on since day one.
It seems like this has been the plan.
It is also extremely not tolerated in a lot of most companies. Every company, it violates the code of conduct under ethical policies.
And from the very beginning. So let's break down what's happening. Donald recently declared a national emergency, claiming ICE needed thousands more detention beds. So his solution? Handing out massive no-bid contracts to two of the biggest private prison firms in the country, Core Civic and Geo Group.
This is exactly what we were just hearing from the representative.
Both of which donated millions of dollars to his campaign and allied PACs. These contracts are not just large, they are grotesquely large. Core Civic secured a $4.2 million per month contract to reopen a 1,033-bed facility in Leavenworth, Kansas, a facility a federal judge once described as a hellhole due to the stabbing, suicides, and rampant abuse at that facility. GEO got a $66 million contract to reopen a shuttered prison in Georgia. These deals were awarded without any competitive bidding, bypassing standard procedure under the guise of urgent need. In order to get more detention beds, the Trump regime has modified dozens of existing agreements with contractors and used no-bid contracts, meaning the contract is automatically given to whomever Donald chooses. And when Leavenworth city officials tried to enforce a basic permitting process, the Trump regime overrode them. Local democracy lost, and corporate greed, as is far too often the case, won. Despite Leavenworth being MAGA stronghold, city officials and residents alike are skeptical about reopening the prison. Leavenworth is a town heavily employed by prisons, but those who used to work at Core Civic's prison describe absolute hell. Well,
you guys remember this clip right here with Donald Trump?
How did you decide to reopen Alcatraz? Can you walk us through that decision?
Did I say what?
To reopen Alcatraz, how will you use it? How did you come up with the idea?
Well, I guess I was supposed to be a movie maker. We started with the movie making and we'll end. I mean, it represents something very strong, very powerful in terms of law and order. Our country needs law and order. Alcatraz is, I would say, the ultimate, right? Alcatraz, Sing Sing and Alcatraz, the movies. But it's right now a museum, believe it or not. A lot of people go there. It housed the...
He is suffering from such bad cognitive dysfunction that he doesn't even know what the fuck he's talking about. But this was him promoting Core Civic and the other one. This is his promotion of it. This was... What he was talking about on this was the promotion of those facilities and the contracts he was rewarding them for boosting his campaign.
Most violent criminals in the world, and nobody ever escaped. One person almost got there, but They, as you know, the story, they found his clothing rather badly ripped up, and it was a lot of shark bites, a lot of problems. Nobody's ever escaped from Alcatraz, and just represented something strong having to do with law and order. We need law and order in this country. And so,
translation, we need these large prisons to have contracts because they helped me.
so we're going to look at it. Some of the people up here are going to be working very hard on that. And we had a little conversation. I think it's going to be very interesting. We'll see if we can bring it back in large form, add a lot. But I think it represents something. Right now it's a big hulk that's sitting there rusting and rotting. You look at it, it's sort of, you saw that picture that was put out. It's sort of
nostalgic dementia, koala stoner, 100%.
amazing. But it sort of represents something that's both horrible and beautiful and strong and miserable, weak. It's got a lot of qualities that are interesting, and I think they make a point.
He thinks weak and miserable is a strong and interesting quality. Unbelievable, dude. Like, right underneath our noses, this motherfucker was planning this shit out with these contractors. All he is he's like, hey, it's time to pay. It's time to play to pay. Like someone just said, I think it was Mitch that said play to pay. It's exactly what he's talking about. That whole thing was about what we're watching right here.
Rogers, who worked as a guard at the CoreCivic facility in Leavenworth from 2016 through 2020, said repeated assaults sent him to the emergency room 3 times, including once after a blow to the head that required 14 staples. And he described working at the facility as, quote unquote, just mayhem. The city's lawsuit against CoreCivic describes detainees being locked in showers as punishment, sewage system failures, and interference with local police investigations into sexual assaults. And Donald is funding all of this with your money, all so his donors can profit.
Would you guys be interested if I did an Alcatraz stream? Like if I actually went there and showed you the facility on stream? I'd be willing to do that.
So let's follow the money, shall we? GEO Group and CoreCivic funneled millions of dollars into Donald's campaign machine, both directly and through dark money channels. GEO maxed out direct contributions, gave $1 million to Donald's super PAC and another $500,000 to his inauguration fund. CoreCivic CEO gave $300,000 personally, and the company added another $500,000. Pam Bondi, Donald's current attorney general, was a lobbyist for GEO Group. The appointed official meant to overlook legal matters with these companies was once handsomely employed by them. Let that sink in, because that, I believe, is what you call a conflict of interest. Since Donald's reelection, CoreCivic stock has surged 50.
Okay, so overwhelmingly yes. Risky? I don't know how that'd be risky. I'll be fine. It's like a tourist destination. No one's gonna know I'm live streaming when I'm there. I could be making a video or a documentary. They might not let you leave, or they're gonna sick the sharks with lasers on me.
6%. Wow. GEO Groups is up 73% because investors knew exactly what was coming. According to The Observer, last fall, internal communications from GEO Group identified Donald's immigration crackdown as a key source of potential revenue growth. GEO chairman George Zolli told shareholders that they were standing by to aid ICE and, quote, Chief Executive Brian Evans estimated that GEO could generate up to $400 million in revenues if ICE were to fill its thousands of empty beds.
Okay, GEO. That's the other one to pay attention to. CoreCivic GEO.
And just last week during an earnings call, CoreCivic CEO Damon Heininger told shareholders, quote, never in our 42-year company history have we had so much activity and demand for our services as we are seeing right now. This is the payoff. The campaign donations, the no bid contracts, the fake emergency, putting the bodies of innocent men and women in cages. While the Trump regime, and especially Donald, manufacture fake emergencies in order to profit their allies, the real emergencies are being covered up. The Environmental Protection Agency, under Donald's watch, quietly dropped up to $4 million in fines against GEO.
Did you just tell me not to drop the soap? I'm a single man, okay? For like years now. Don't tell me what to do.
Over a horrific chemical abuse scandal at the Adelanto facility in California. GEO was caught spraying a toxic disinfectant called HALT without proper
motherfucker, you think I'm picky. Shit.
Protection for staff or detainees. These weren't a few isolated incidents. Over 1,100 violations were cited. Detainees and staff were exposed to a toxic disinfectant, which is linked to infertility, hormone disruption, and severe burns. Some detainees said it got into their food, and others say it was sprayed on them as punishment. Career EPA staff called the drop fines a quote-unquote complete surrender. But under the Trump regime, GEO walked away without a scratch and right into the hands of millions of dollars in contracts. Let's be crystal clear about how this works. Every time ICE detains somebody, these companies make money. Every new raid is a business opportunity for them. Showing up for your immigration court, you get detained. Show up to the job that helps you pay your federal taxes only to be pulled out minutes later by masked agents. Attending university with a government student visa only to be kidnapped by ICE agents off the street. ICE detentions have already surged over 50% under Donald, from around 33,000 people to nearly 50,000. And his so-called border czar, the Nazi Tom Homan, says the goal is 100,000. That's 100,000 people in cages, many of them never even charged with a crime. Meanwhile, conditions at these facilities are deteriorating fast, they're unsanitary, they're overcrowded, and they're dangerous. This is the model they're following. Fund the campaign, get the contract, lock up more people, reap the profits. If that sounds familiar to you, it should. That's because it's very similar to what happened at the beginning of Jim Crow. There was a policy in place, unofficially, of course, called convict leasing or peonage. And essentially what happened is this. In towns across the South, local law enforcement essentially made up things that were illegal, like, I don't know, loitering or not using your paycheck responsibly. I'm not kidding. Only Black people were accused of committing these fictional crimes. And then after they were arrested, they were put in front of an all-white, all-male jury and almost invariably found guilty. And
it always seems to circle back to minority oppression and money. Like, it seems to be the circle of life when it comes to this particular sect of our nation. Every time, like throughout history.
And then what happened to them? They were shipped off.
People wonder why things like BLM movements happen.
The turpentine farms to work the rest of their lives under conditions that have been referred to as being worse than slavery. And here we are in America in 2025, and the same horrors are unfolding before our eyes because nobody is paying enough attention. So what can we do? Well, for starters, please share this video. We need to get the message out and get more people talking about this, because if we don't do something about this, we can no longer say this is not who we are. Because quite frankly, right now in America in 2025, this is exactly who we are. Please take a second and like and share this video.
God, LJ Boone coming through. Subscribe, like. Thank you very much for sharing that. Very interesting to put that in there. So the overwhelming consensus is I'm going to do a Alcatraz stream. Okay, I can do that. I have to be in San Francisco. I don't know when. I will let you know when I'm going to do that stream. Yeah, that'll be a fun one. It'll be sometime. I don't know when. I have to figure out when I'm going back to Frisco, but Gosh dang, good to hear a little insight there. Holy cow. I knew Mary Trump existed. I forgot who she was, and I didn't pay much attention to her, but notifications on that one, guys. Mary Trump Media, 415K subscribers. Not enough. Might want to throw this one a sub. Pay attention to that one. Thank you, LJ, for turning me on to that. That was good. All right, let's go back to what I gotcha. More ICE detentions.
No! No! I'm not kidding, not! No! Mommy! No!
This is Elgin, Illinois. This is June 16th. Video shows federal agents pull a man from a car in Elgin, Illinois during a reported ICE operation.
New video shows ICE agents making an arrest in Elgin. This was the scene around 7:30 yesterday morning at the intersection of Gertrude and Washburn Streets. Witnesses say approximately 8 agents, they were wearing tactical vests. They were in unmarked vehicles. They say agents took a man into custody after smashing the window of a vehicle. The Elgin Area Rapid Response Team, that is a community organization, says that there were multiple incidents involving ICE agents in Elgin. They released a statement saying, quote, the use of force, intimidation, and destruction of property under the guise of enforcement constitutes a violent abuse of power that must be publicly and unequivocally condemned. The group plans to protest this Saturday morning. We have reached out to ICE for comment on that situation and that arrest out in Elgin. We have yet to hear back.
Oh, that's weird. ICE isn't talking to the press? That's so weird. I've never seen that happening. I thought they were super transparent and all, and, you know, wanted to talk and explain exactly what was going on, but nope. Nope. It's probably the Proud Boys.
Last week, there were multiple immigration sweeps in Downey, California. Officers wearing U.S. Border Patrol uniforms have been detaining undocumented...
Yeah, I just didn't realize... I didn't realize either that ICE is like an open hire agency. Like, anybody can apply, anybody can be hired. I thought you had to be like previous law enforcement, and it's like something special. But no, you could be a fucking goon off the street or a January 6er.
People at car washes, churches, and targeting gardeners. Downey is around 75% Hispanic, a little less than 10 miles from downtown LA. Driving around, you can spot where a sweep just happened, because in the aftermath, there will be a group of people on the street, some crying, some still overwhelmed by what they just witnessed. Simultaneously, community groups have formed to try and thwart these raids as they occur.
I've been driving around for the last 2 hours, and I see 2 cops. I was like, let me just double check it's not ICE. I think I hear when I pull up to them, it's like, where's your documentation? Where's your paper?
In the aftermath of a raid, people will gather and share information with each other, and that's how I learned the telltale indicators of an unmarked Border Patrol vehicle. Used in these raids, there were many black and white Fords and Chevys with Texas and older New Mexico license plates, opaque window tinting except for the windshield, and some with wire antennas on the roof. I followed behind this vehicle to try and capture one of these scenes. And after what was truly the world's dumbest game of cat and mouse, only minutes after losing track of the truck, the CPB officers inside conducted a raid only a few blocks away, and multiple gardeners were detained. One of the community activists told me that ICE was staying at the Embassy Suites in town. There, I talked to multiple men with muscles who would say the line that they're in town for work, but they wouldn't say who they work for. In the evening, once word had gotten out, a protest quickly grew. I watched these muscular men off of work walk right by the protesters, returning with takeout food completely unnoticed. When I asked one of these men if it made him uneasy, it did. They felt they were just there to do their job. It was described as a mob mentality. One then told me he was going to go back to his room and eat his burrito. He was aware of the irony.
Motherfuckers going back to the room, eating Mexican food, arresting Mexicans, bro. What? Oh. I don't. They're probably saving up money to go to Cabo. Probably order a drink and look at the waiter and go, gracias. Fucking unreal, dude. Yuck. They know the hypocrisy behind it. They know what they're doing. But they're getting paid. That's all they give a fuck about. They don't care about anything. Money. So gross. A little take from Jasmine Crockett. So she got a little emotional. She's going through scary times. This isn't the full video, but a little portion of her I love Jasmine Crockett. I love her. I'm in love with her. She already knows this.
All right, I'm gonna give y'all a second to jump on. Hopefully I've got a decent connection, as I am in a car. I'm driving to another location. I literally shed a tear or two. And so long story short, for those of you that are unaware, the mofo that resides in the White House has unilaterally, in my estimation, declared war. We have a constitution that seemingly does not matter to this man or the people that are supposed to be advising him. I will say that I want to give a shout out to a Republican, Thomas Massey, who made it clear that he wanted to reiterate that the power as relates to war declaration, the power that we derive from the Constitution, it resides with Congress. And the House is out. Hell, the Senate is out. It is a Saturday right now. So no one's in. We ain't been called in. And let me just explain briefly why I am so heartbroken. Is because I don't think a number of nations should have nuclear weapons. Like, let's just kind of level set on that. But at the same time, I wouldn't want anybody randomly just kind of coming at our throats and being like, yo, like, y'all got nukes, so we just don't, like, no. That is not how you deal with things. And there is a such thing as diplomacy. And we are living in this time in which there is someone who is occupying the White House who does not care about any rules, any norms, any laws, nor the Constitution, and we cannot be a civilized country if there is no law and order. So I know they may claim we law and order, blah, blah, blah. So go get the undocumented people and let's try to ship them out. Let me tell you something. They are not the people that are putting us in harm's way. It is him and his administration that is putting us in harm's way. I am telling you right now that I legitimately have had no intel whatsoever. Zero intel as a sitting member of Congress, regardless of how you feel about me, regardless of my party affiliation. No one has consulted specifically with me or anybody in my office to give us any information.
Jasmine Crockett run me over when she had a message for Trump and it was like, grow a spine and stop being Putin's hoe.
And so the idea that this dude sitting in the White House, because it didn't come from Congress, so the only person that it could have come from would be him. So this is me making assumptions, and he's talking about he gonna jump on and talk about it after the fact or whatever. We are putting our loved ones as well as those in this country in harm's way, and I legitimately have no understanding of why or how. And so
she wasn't provided any information, none at all. Nobody in Congress was. This is completely Trump's doing. Now Thomas Massey spoke up. Let's get a little clip from him if we can. I think I found one right here.
Their lives. And we certainly don't need another war. And if we do go to war, it needs to be with the blessing and the support of the people and a mission that our soldiers can accomplish. And we do that by following the vision of our founding fathers. We debate it here on the floor of the House.
Oh,
that's what
this is old. This is an old clip. That's 2020. 2020. Let's see if I can find a new one. New clip. Thomas Massey speaking out. Let's hear it. Massey slams Johnson for doing whatever Trump wants. Warns Iran strikes could give Dems majority. Okay, so that's like kind of in betweenish. I don't know if there's anything current. Maybe that's the clip that she was talking about.
Special effort to offer a war powers resolution while everybody was on vacation. I was able to put it in the hopper during a pro forma session. But in reality, if Speaker Johnson thought that America was in danger imminently, he should have brought us all back to Congress, yet he did not. I'm not a fan of the speaker, but I will tell you this. I think he's the speaker as long as Trump wants him to be the speaker. If Trump gets tired of Speaker Johnson, he better clean out his desk, because that's how he's speaker. He's just hanging on by doing whatever Trump wants. And in this case, it's an abrogation of our responsibility to debate matters of war. That's what Trump wants, and that's what Mike Johnson gave him. That is wrong. And by the way, whether you agree with my war powers resolution that I've co-introduced with Ro Khanna, a Democrat. By the way, we're up to 50.
This guy is a Kentucky Republican, deep red, speaking out against it.
Co-sponsors now. Whether you agree with it or not, surely you agree, or your listeners agree, that the Constitution requires Congress to weigh in on this. There's some argument that, oh, there was an imminent threat, so the president can act for 60 days without a vote of Congress. But here's the reality. After 60 days, he has to stop unless there is a vote. So at some point, Manu, I think we're going to be able to force a vote unless Speaker Johnson pulls some shenanigans with the Rules Committee.
Well, we can't hear the other feed, but we can hear his words, and it's relevant.
Well, he doesn't have to run for re-election, but it will, I think, fragment our party, this action that he's taken, and it's going to hurt us in the midterms. We could lose the majority over this one issue, and, because people become disillusioned, disaffected, apathetic, and don't show up to vote, and then the Democrats get in the majority and end up impeaching him again. I think this was a bad move politically, but it's also just a bad move legally and constitutionally and policy-wise. Absolutely, he broke a campaign promise, and there are a lot of the base will say that, although not too many of my Republican colleagues will say that. They're frankly afraid of him. And they're also afraid of the Israel lobby in Congress that's given millions and millions of dollars to so many of my colleagues.
That's exactly what everybody's been saying, is they are afraid of losing Israel's support and them going Democratic. And that's why so many people are in fear of speaking out against this, because was it CPAC? Is it CPAC that donates a large portion? What is the name? I think it's CPAC. I could be wrong. But yes, they're afraid to speak out against Trump. This man is not, because he's from deep red Kentucky. Kentucky? Blows my mind to hear a representative from Kentucky, a Republican, speaking up against Trump. So, yeah, midterms, bye-bye. We got to get people out to vote for sure.
We have some big news right now. An ICE detainee has died in ICE transfer custody for the first time in nearly a decade. According to The Guardian, a 68-year-old Mexican-born man has died, and the reasons for his death, well, they're still under investigation. It's unknown, but it's very serious, and there are a lot of confusing facts in this case. Abelardo Delgado is a 68-year-old man who died during a transfer from a local jail to an ICE facility. And the death occurred as private companies with little to no oversight are conducting these ICE transfers, and no one really knows what's happening during the transfers. His family says that he was healthy and that he had no health conditions prior to being detained, and somehow was put in a wheelchair just weeks after being detained in jail. His family is trying to find answers right now as we speak about what happened to him. The Department of Homeland Security says the death is under investigation, provided very little details. But this remains a very serious situation. You could read the full article on The Guardian's website. I'll provide you updates every step of the way. And as always, follow along to stay up to date on all the news that you need to know about. More to come soon. We have...
Well, we don't know why the man died, but he died in ICE custody. I'm sure many more others have, but we haven't heard about it. Well, I'm not sure, but that's my assumption.
Are you saying there that the United States did not see intelligence that the Supreme Leader...
So here's Marco Rubio come out to hold Trump's water, saying it's irrelevant.
...had ordered weaponization?
That's irrelevant. I see that question being asked in the media. That's an irrelevant question.
No,
they have
that is
everything
the
they
key
need to build
point
a
in
weapon.
U.S. intelligence assessments. You know that.
No, it's not.
Yes, it was.
No, it's
that
not.
the political
I know,
decision had not
I know
been
that better
made.
than you know that, and I know that that's not the case.
But I'm asking you whether the order was given.
And the people who say that, it doesn't matter if the order was given. They have everything they need to build nuclear weapons. Why would you bury things in a mountain, 300 feet under the ground?
Right.
Why would you bury why do they have 60% enriched uranium? You don't need 60% enriched uranium. The only countries in the world that have uranium at 60% are countries that have nuclear weapons. Because they can just quickly make it.
I used to think this man had a spine and stood for something. He proved us all wrong. Little ass Marco.
They have all the elements.
Fake ass, head ass, dumbass.
They have. Why do they have a space
lying ass, two-faced ass, no spine ass, crying ass Marco
program? Is Iran going to go to the moon? No, they're trying to build an ICBM.
No, but
so
that's
they
a
can one day
question.
put a
That's a
warhead on
question.
it.
That's a question of intent, and you know, in the intelligence assessment, that it was that Iran wanted to be a threshold
How do you
state
know
and
what the
use this
intelligence assessment
leverage.
says?
I'm
How do
talking
you
about
know what
the
the
public
intelligence assessment
March
says?
assessment, and that's why I was asking you if you know something more from
but
March.
that's also
if
an
an order
inaccurate
was
representation of it. That's an accurate representation of it. That's not how intelligence is read. That's not how intelligence is used. Here's what the whole world knows. Forget about intelligence. What the IAEA knows. They are enriched.
Forget about intelligence. Shall I play that again?
Of it. That's an accurate representation of it. That's not how intelligence is read. That's not how intelligence is used. Here's what the whole world knows. Forget about intelligence. What the IAEA knows. They are enriching uranium well beyond anything you need for a civil nuclear program. So why would you enrich uranium at 60% if you don't intend to one day use it to take it to 90 and build a weapon? Right. Why are you developing ICBMs? Why do you have 8,000 short-range missiles and 2,000 to 3,000 long mid-range missiles that you continue to develop? Why do you do all these things? They have everything they need for a nuclear weapon. They have the delivery mechanisms. They have the enrichment capability. They have the highly enriched uranium that is stored.
Yes.
That's all we need to see.
Right. Well, and
especially in the hands of a regime that's already involved in terrorism and proxies and all kinds of things around. They are the source of all
yes, and no one's
in the
disputing. No one's disputing that. I'm not doing that here. And they were censured at the IAEA for that enrichment and for violating their non-proliferation agreements. I was simply asking if we had intelligence that there was an order to weaponize, because you said weaponization ambitions.
Well, we
which
have
implies
intelligence that they have everything they need to build a nuclear weapon, and that's more than enough.
Are you saying there that...
So basically what he's saying is Trump decided to do this for clout. He did it preemptively. He did it without warrant. He did it because his polls are dropping. He did everything that Trump said Obama would do when his polls were down. Because that's what he would have done. And he did. And now we have to sit here and wonder, what the fuck? Why? Why now of all things? I feel it was Taco. The Taco rhetoric really got to him under his skin when he realized everybody's calling him Taco Trump. I feel like that really pushed the man over the edge. And he did this for clout. He did this for the timing was right for him. He saw Israel doing it and said, "No, we got to be the ones to do it. Here we go." Too soon. Too soon.
Oh, this is good. Republican Congress members are absolutely terrified right now, and they are panicking as Democratic Congress members from other districts
to cover up the Epstein files. That's one hell of a way to start the summer. Your frickin' ketamine buddy doped out goes out and calls you a pedophile, so you have to cover everything up by World War III.
We're going into the red Republican congressional districts, and get this, the Democrats are getting standing ovations by the constituents of these Republican congressional districts. The most recent example of this, Democratic Congress member Eric Swalwell went into the California 20th congressional district, a seat held by MAGA Republican Congresswoman Young Kim, and she's too afraid to hold a town hall. So Congressmember Swalwell, from a completely different district, he shows up, he holds this town hall that is hugely attended, and he gets a standing ovation. Watch the standing ovation here. Play this clip.
They are not going to win the midterms unless something terrible happens in this country. And they will 100% blame Iran, blame the Democrats, blame Biden. I've been saying it for a while. They are losing their grip, and they're going to do something dumb.
And watch how brilliant this was as Democratic Congress member Eric Swalwell speaks to the constituents, again, of this Republican congressional district held by MAGA Republican Congresswoman Young Kim. And Congressmember Swalwell just says, are you better off right now than you were before? What about Donald Trump making you these promises that he was going to lower prices, end wars? Isn't he making things much, much worse? Watch Congressmember Swalwell at this town hall. Here, play this clip.
You were promised lower prices on day one. Yes. By a show of hands, how many of you are feeling those lower prices? You were promised an end to all wars on day one. How many of you have seen an end to those wars? You were promised that Social Security would not be touched. How many of you are on Social Security?
Damn.
But it's okay if they touch it, right? Because it's really just a government program, right? You didn't pay into it, did you? No? You paid into that?
Blame
So
Canada.
if you were promised lower costs on day one and your costs are going up, fewer wars on day one, and we're adding conflicts to the map, and that your Social Security wouldn't be touched, and they're firing the people who take care of you, and also putting at risk the payout that you have paid your own money into, I would understand why you're so pissed off, and on a Thursday night, you came to your community center and wanted to see your representative.
That was fire, boy. Fire. They're losing the ground. Shit.
We're now learning that Donald Trump may not have been entirely truthful when he said that the Iranian nuclear facility that we bombed yesterday, Fordow, was, quote, totally obliterated. New reports are now coming out that although Fordow was severely damaged, it is far from being destroyed. And it appears that Iran had moved out all of its nuclear materials prior to the attack. Even J.D. Vance in an interview earlier today was hedging very much on Trump's comments that there was a full and complete destruction of the facility. As this article from the Wall Street Journal says, Vice President J.D. Vance signaled Iran's stockpile of enriched uranium is still intact and in Iranian control, a potentially significant problem for closing off Iran's future path to a bomb. And as this New York Times article notes, Donald Trump's comments...
Dude, this is going to come to boots on the ground. They're looking at it like Iraq 2.0. They have to go validate that the nukes are gone. The WMDs are gone. God, it's the same shit, dude. The same shit.
That the facilities were completely and totally obliterated are contrasted with the more cautious assessments by U.S. and Israeli militaries, which say the following. That Fordow had sustained serious damage from the American strike on Sunday, but has not been completely destroyed. That's from 2 Israeli officials. And those officials acknowledged as well that it appeared Iran had moved equipment, including uranium, from the site prior to the attacks. And even a U.S. official acknowledged that the facility was severely damaged but not destroyed.
No, they have a way, Mitch, they have a way to know. They have to send troops in to clear the facilities. They have to send in special forces, operators, mop suits, all that bullshit. That's the only way for them to truly know the damage. And they're not going to, I mean, for them to do that, it would have to be an attack in the United States, like a big one. And that's what I've been saying for a while. It's going to happen. DHS funding runs out in, what, 8 days?
Meanwhile, an advisor to the supreme leader of Iran, Khamenei, said that Iran's enriched uranium remains despite the U.S. attacks. So all this new information that's incoming is painting an entirely different picture of what Donald Trump was saying just yesterday. And I just want to say this, when it comes to reporting on wars like this, there's a whole lot of information, and it can't always be summed up in a quick TikTok. So here's what I want you to do. Make sure you add the Midas Touch podcast on Apple Podcasts and Spotify for our full reports. I know
Midas Touch is pretty amazing. I'm not going to lie. I really like their stuff. A lot.
Does anybody find it interesting that Trump wants to...
Yeah, a little on Portland. Hey, did you guys catch the Portland stream the other day when they were protesting? It was wild.
Troops to LA, but not talking about Portland? Probably because he knows the Portland protesters will show up even more than they already have. ICE is getting owned in Portland, and that's just with a handful of protesters. Imagine what would happen if the protesters outnumbered ICE agents by 10-1, and we know if they send troops down there, that's what's going to happen. If you're not watching the live videos out of Portland, they are very interesting. Those protesters are some badass individuals. If you don't know what I'm talking about, go watch them. They're live streaming right now. Does anybody find it interesting that Trump wants...
Yeah, we watched them. It was wild when they were doing that shit, boy. Wild.
We are here on this Sunday night after the major U.S. strikes on Iran, now directly involved in this conflict. And we are learning much more tonight, some 24 hours after U.S. bombs and missiles struck Iran's 3 key nuclear facilities. A fleet of B-2 bombers, some of them decoys, some taking off from the U.S. for Guam, others then taking off in the other direction for Iran.
Yeah, we were tracking those in Guam. I'm like, oh, that's weird. I'm like, Yeah, I kind of felt like they were getting things in position, but it was kind of a feint. Me and another guy at work, he texted me. He was like, they just hit Iran. I'm like, yeah, I fucking know.
Iran going undetected. The B-2 bombers dropping those 30,000-pound bombs for the first time as part of this massive strike on Iran. President Trump overnight addressing the nation, calling the operation a spectacular military success. Critics on the Hill tonight warning of what could come next, with Iran now saying it will retaliate. The first video tonight coming in from inside Iran, an explosion and then a fireball near Iran's Isfahan nuclear facility. Tonight, military officials now describing the high-stakes mission involving 125 aircraft, including one group of B-2 bombers taking off from Missouri, heading to the west as a decoy, and then that second group flying in secret, heading to Iran. Those B-2 bombers dropping 14 massive ordnance penetrator bombs capable of penetrating deep underground on Iran's...
You know, they put out a warning to all American citizens in Iran, telling them to get out now. And that was like this. I got that notification in my emails the same day they did the strike. So that was like a key indicator that something was going down.
Fordo and Natanz nuclear sites. This is an animation, of course, and it is still unclear tonight how far those bombs penetrated beneath the earth. In addition, Tomahawk missiles from a U.S. submarine striking the third site, Isfahan. Tonight, satellite images right here of that site 1 week ago. And this satellite image of the Isfahan nuclear site tonight. You can see the evidence of the damage. And this evening here, new questions about Fordo. Satellite images from the days before the strikes show a line of trucks on a service road there. Was Iran moving nuclear material in the days before the attack? Tonight, President Trump saying Iran must now make peace, warning of additional targets if they do not. We begin tonight here with our chief foreign correspondent, Ian Pannell, in Tel Aviv tonight with new reporting, new details inside those 25 minutes over Iran.
Tonight, the first video emerging from the US's audacious attack on 3 Iranian nuclear sites. A fireball lighting the night sky. Explosions heard in the distance at Iran's Isfahan nuclear facility, part of the barrage that included the biggest strike by B-2 stealth bombers in US history. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth before the cameras today.
This is a plan that took months and weeks of positioning and preparation
so that we could be ready when the President of the United States called.
President Trump giving the final order for Operation Midnight Hammer last night. A highly classified, top-secret mission.
Midnight Hammer? That sounds like the most homoerotic fucking call sign for a mission I've ever heard. Midnight Hammer.
That only a handful of U.S. officials...
Straight off of Pornhub.
...knew about, and one that was full of deception.
It took a great deal of precision. It involved misdirection. And the highest of operational security.
Which means they probably took Hexeth's phone away and said, nope, go to your room.
At a dozen B-2 bombers taking off from Missouri early Saturday morning, with a decoy group of about half of them heading west towards Guam with trackable movements. And while the world was looking the other way, a short time later, 7 more B-2s taking off, but this time heading in the opposite direction, to the east, directly towards Iran, with no transponders and minimal communications. Those bombers completing multiple mid-air refuelings throughout the 18 hours it took to fly to Iran, the longest since right after the 9/11 attacks, and once over land, linking up with additional support aircraft. The Pentagon saying the 25-minute mission inside Iranian airspace began at 6:40 p.m. Eastern. A first wave of U.S. fighter jets sweeping in front of the B-2s to protect them from possible enemy missiles and warplanes, all part of the deception. Then a lead B-2 bomber dropping the first 2 30,000-pound bunker-busting bombs called the Massive Ordnance Penetrator, or MOPS, on Iran's Fordo nuclear site, buried deep under a mountain.
The remaining bombers then hit their target.
That's how they get to the sex tunnels of NAFO.
As well, with a total of 14 MOPS dropped against 2 nuclear target areas.
Those massive bombs hitting facilities at both Fordo and Natanz, marking the first time they've been used on the battlefield.
We are currently unaware of any shots fired at the U.S. strike package on the way in. Iran's fighters did not fly, and it appears that Iran's surface-to-air missile systems did not see us.
Yeah, they had like at least 8 sites. That was only 3, so it means we're going to go back in. It's a complete bullshit. It's just clout.
Right after those bunker-busting bombs struck, U.S. missiles hitting a third target.
A U.S. submarine in the Central Command Area of Responsibility launched more than 24 Tomahawk land attack cruise missiles against key surface infrastructure targets at Esfahan.
In total, 125 aircraft and 75 precision-guided weapons were used. New before and after
I don't think people realize the size and magnitude and the GDP of Iran. There are 92 million people live in there. They're more technologically advanced than Iraq and Afghanistan combined. This is, if we were to go to full-scale war with them, it's going to be bad. Real fucking bad. This is not a small country. It is huge. It is huge. It has huge GDP. It has huge power. Right? I think we're a long way off from the finale of this.
Satellite images showing the destruction left behind at these sites. What appears to be extensive damage at buildings in Isfahan and in Natanz, an 18-foot wide hole directly over part of the underground military complex there.
Final battle damage will take some time, but initial battle damage assessments indicate that all 3 sites sustained extremely severe damage and destruction.
But questions tonight about the impact of those U.S. attacks and whether Iran preempted them. Satellite images from the days before the strike showing unusual activity at the Fordo nuclear site. A line of trucks seen on a service road. It's unclear if Iran anticipated the bombings and moved nuclear material beforehand. Just hours after the U.S. strike, Iran retaliating, firing around 20 ballistic missiles at Israel. Massive destruction here in northern Tel Aviv. You can see the clear-up operation underway, but just look at the destruction to what was a residential apartment block. Again, Iran responding after those American attacks. Iran calling the attack outrageous and a breach of international law, threatening a heavy response and warning U.S. bases in the region are vulnerable to attack. President Trump addressing the nation after the attack, saying Iran must now make peace, warning Iran and its proxies against any retaliation against the US, saying the US will hit more targets with precision, speed and skill.
Tonight I can report to the world that the strikes were a spectacular military success.
And late today, those B-2 bombers that hit Iran safely returning home to Missouri. Our affiliate, KMBC, was there some 36 hours after they began their mission.
A great sight to see those B-2 bombers back on the ground here in the U.S. Let's get right back to Ian Panel live tonight in Tel Aviv. Ian, you and I were on the air last night here after these attacks were revealed. As we know, there are tens of thousands of U.S. troops stationed across the region. Obviously, major concern with Iran saying it will retaliate. The safety of U.S. troops throughout the Middle East of utmost importance tonight.
Yeah, that's right. In fact, the president just posting about the B-2's landing, saying they've landed safely in Missouri. Thank you for a job well done. But yes, tens of thousands, around 40,000 troops still in the region. Extra security precautions have now been put in place. Iran, though, saying later today that it was the US that decided to destroy diplomacy with last night's strike, and that the Iranian military will, quote, decide the timing, nature and scale of its response. David.
Ian Panel, who was on the air with us deep into the night last night, back here again tonight, and we appreciate it. Thank you, Ian.
Prediction. As I eat that delicious, succulent grape ape indica edible, and wash it down with whatever's in this mug. Ground troops from Qatar. And I don't think we're going to have NATO support on this. I don't think anybody's going to support this. Soon. If I'm getting down the rabbit hole, attack in America, in the United States. The attempt to declare NATO Article 5, giving us a reason to pull out of NATO because Europe doesn't want anything to do with this, leading to us on our own, pulling out of NATO, weakening our stance, sending in a bunch of our kids to go get slaughtered in another fucking conflict in the Middle East. For what? For his poll numbers. I hope I'm wrong. I hope I'm wrong. So far, I've been right about a lot of things. I've said for the last, at least, no, longer than that. I can firmly say for the last 6 months, I'm saying Iran will be attacked under this administration. Yeah, I've said that I knew the Oval Office with Zelensky would be a trap. And I'm not a super intellectual. You guys are here with me. We've been paying attention. The rug pull with the meme coin. The riots in LA popping off, or not riots, the protests in LA popping off. We've all seen this coming. So more to come. I feel pretty solid saying that this is going to lead to boots on the ground here soon. I hate saying it, but that's how I feel.
Just a few moments ago, we just learned that the State Department has issued a new security alert, urging now increased caution for U.S. citizens abroad. Let me read from this. I'm just now reading it for the first time. There's a potential for demonstrations against U.S. citizens and interests abroad. The Department of State advises U.S. citizens worldwide to exercise increased caution. Also saying the conflict between Israel and Iran has resulted in disruptions to travel and periodic closure of airspace place across the Middle East. So this is yet another indication, Eamon, of the Trump administration realizing that there is an increased threat to U.S. citizens, not just in the Middle East, but also here in the United States. I mentioned earlier this bulletin from the Department of Homeland Security warning of a heightened threat environment and warning of potential low-grade cyber attacks here in the United States, but also that reporting that I told you, according to two U.S. officials and a person with knowledge of the matter, that President Trump was warned about the possibility that Iran could retaliate by activating what these sources describe as sleeper cells within the United States. So certainly this is something that DHS and the State Department are looking at very closely now.
Yeah,
and
I covered this the other night with Pastor Greg Locke when he came on and was talking about sleeper cells, and it was super cringe. It was a super cringe live stream. I know it was for people, but I was talking about it, and I thought it was important for us to pay attention to this man that's coming out saying sleeper cells. While I aired that live stream, the White House and all the major news correspondents started talking about sleeper cells and a prophetic imminent attack happening in the United States. I feel like I might be on to something with that. I feel like I feel deep inside it's going to be like some ultra-nationalist Christian jihadist group that's going to cause it. And they'll blame something else. Like, while I was airing the whole live stream, I was airing the live stream about this freaking ultra-nationalist sect in the United States under Pastor Greg Locke. Major news correspondents started talking about sleeper cells in the White House, saying they're going to increase surveillance on sleeper cells. I'm like, oh my God, dude, I hate it when I'm right. And this dude put up that tweet like 2 days before I aired that, and there's nothing else on it. Someone told him in the White House. He was the same guy that was supposed to be there talking with Donald Trump at January 6th and opted out, but ended up talking at the freaking Freedom whatever. Something's going to happen, guys. And I don't think it's going to be Iran. But when they start pointing fingers, boy.
As one of the other guests have said, I believe it's General McCaffrey, that the next couple of days, the next several days, will be very perilous potentially for Americans really across the world as we wait to see if Iran does retaliate and in what form. Just a few moments ago, we just learned that
it's really not hard to read these people after a while. It really isn't.
This has been a terrible Sunday for Donald Trump, but frankly for the entire United States, as we're seeing the ramifications of Donald Trump's military strikes in Iran, where he and Netanyahu essentially went it alone. We're also now learning that, here's the response from Iran's foreign minister, Araghchi, is planning on visiting Moscow on Monday to meet with Vladimir Putin. This was reported by NBC. It was originally reported also that Iran's parliament has approved the closing of the Hormuz Strait. That's where all of the oil tankers have to pass through when they're traveling with all of the oil, all of it, from the Middle East. You shut down the Hormuz Strait, the Strait of Hormuz, and oil becomes essentially inaccessible and unaffordable in the United States. This is a statement, formal statement issued by Iran's foreign minister, Saeed Araghchi. We're hearing from as well from Russia's former president and prime minister, Medvedev. Moments ago, you had United States Vice President J.D. Vance. He was on the morning shows and he was asked, what's the difference between Donald Trump starting or being embroiled now in a war with Iran versus everything you, J.D. Vance, and Donald Trump had been saying before, that it's the stupidest thing in the world to do. It would take the dumbest person. Only the stupidest negotiators would ever get into a war in Iran. This is part of the neocon establishment. And here, J.D. Vance this morning says, I empathize with Americans who are tired of 25 years of foreign entanglements, but now we've got Donald Trump, who's a genius And before we had stupid presidents. So now we have the greatest president, but then we had dumb presidents. So that's the difference. He actually used those words, basically. You can hear him for yourself. I paraphrased a little bit, but he basically said that. So let's play that clip. I think it's also important that we know some of the other geopolitical ramifications and things that are taking place. It's why the research tools that I use, I want to focus on what's left media covering, what's right-wing media covering, what's center media covering, because even when stories like this are reported, the right-wing media never talks about Russian media and right-wing media.
I wasn't wrong, guys. I wasn't wrong, man. That's why he's been so friendly with Russia. Right? It makes sense. Russian oil cheap. Middle Eastern oil cut off. Israel wants to bomb Iran. It's, God, it's there. Am I crazy?
Is interlinked with Russian media and right-wing media here in the United States as well. Here's a story that I think is being underreported by these corporations. Remember all those people sitting kind of front row during the inauguration? A lot of the people who work there are now basically at top.
Adam, where did you get that couch meme next to my freaking membership-only JD Vance face? Do we need a new freaking emoji? Do we need a freaking couch? JD Vance couch emoji in memberships.
Positions now in the military as well. Just the research tool that I use, so you know, because I get asked it all the time, I might as well tell you here. It's called Ground News. This has been a terrible Sunday.
You guys are giving me terrible ideas. Absolutely terrible, grotesque ideas.
So have you thought of any plans of retaliation for last night's strikes?
Everything is under consideration.
What does that mean, sir?
According to our mutual, our benefits, our interest, we are going to consider all of the matters, inshallah.
What can that include?
It has been monitored by the Iranian authorities.
Yeah, imminent strike probably coming, one way or another. Like I said before, I'm thinking it's going to be internal, but we'll see. Internally enabled, maybe? Can we say that? Can we say internally enabled? Can we say that if a strike happens, they'll let it happen? Maybe it's not going to be this crazy ultra-nationalist, jihadist Christianity group that we obviously see in the United States. Maybe they just allow it. DHS funding runs out. They see it, they track it, they let it happen. Who knows, right? Something is going to pull us to boots on the ground. Boots are going on the ground. I've already seen clips of military people mobilizing and not saying much more other than like a hashtag Iran. I didn't air it because I don't have confirmation, but holy shit. Driver speeding through the National Mall. Look at this guy.
Where is he going? He's not going anywhere, dude. There's so many cops. That's a fact. That's a whole fact. I just hope he don't hurt him. Hopefully he's not a honey trap.
Man, you say it like that? What's that?
Oh, you didn't think about that?
Yeah. It must be something.
But like, y'all not paying attention to
Trump America, guys. More of that to come, I'd imagine. What else we got? Oh, yeah, we got a few more clips. We'll keep going. We're going to keep going, guys. We're going to do a late one. This shit's wild. They tackle a freaking, and arrest a United States citizen, or at least detain him, and they do it with, like, force.
Well, get the fuck out of here. You guys are fucking useless, man.
Yeah, Canty, what were you doing in D.C., bro? Get over. You got tornadoes to worry about. Get your fucking SUV out of there.
You're fucking useless. Get the fuck out of here. No les den ninguna información. No les den ninguna información. No les diga su nombre. 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 No les diga su nombre, no les hable, no les diga nada. No les diga nada. No les diga nada.
Among those arrested was Job Garcia, a 37-year-old U.S. citizen.
No les enseñes nada, no les enseñes nada. No les enseñes nada. No les diga nada, no les diga nada. No les abra. Yo, are you fucking serious, bro?
Get him down! Get the fuck down! Get the fuck down! Fuck up, son, right there. Give your fucking hand up. He's good. Give your fucking hand up. Give me your fucking hand. You want it? You got it, sir. You fucking got it. You want to go to jail? Fine. You got it. Good. That's it. No, he wanted it. You got it. All right. Boom. Boom. Joe. Get up, sir. Get up. What up? I'm gonna put your phone in your pocket. You got it? Go.
Garcia. You good with him? You good, guys? Let's go to the south side here. Get clear out here. Let's get to the south side. Joe. We have the right. Shit, that's what you guys are, man.
While I'm walking, sir, don't even piece of shit. You're a piece of shit. Look at that. Garcia. Go ahead. Move your vehicle. Why? Hey, take this guy over there.
Dude, you guys are fucking cool, bro.
No problem, brother. Watch your foot. Take him to the van.
That man did nothing. That man did nothing except try to inform that man of his rights. Don't tell them shit. Don't talk to no one. Don't say anything. Don't say anything. Wait for your lawyer. And they fucking hammed his ass up because they were mad. A United States citizen. This will take generations to change this, dude. That's optimistic. Steve, that's optimistic, my guy. I talk to people, younger generation, and they put on the show for me. They say things, oh yeah, it's bad, but behind the scenes, I don't know, man. They're really, really in agreement with all this shit. Oh, we got to do something. I don't know. Canty, find my place for me in Ukraine, bro. I don't know. That shit right there makes me feel pretty lost in this country. Like, I don't belong here anymore. But I'm going to keep covering the protests and getting out there and speaking out against this shit. But that right there was uncalled for. He ended up getting released. And he spoke up. I might even have a clip of him speaking up about that. But they snatched his ass up for pretty much nothing. For just being there and irritating them. They got pressed. They got in their feelings. They fucking cooked him out of there. That really had no purpose other than they wanted him gone, and he was bothering them by his words because they know it's true, and they got frustrated. Fuck those guys.
No one today trusts America. You talk to the leaders in Europe, not one of them trusts America. You go to the Middle East, not one of the leaders that I've met a number of them, trust America. The only one who trusts America was a military intelligence chief of Israel. And I said, you're the only one in the world that trusts America. And his answer is, I have no choice. That means he knows that he doesn't trust America.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a sad thing. I mean, speaking as an American, it really hurts me to see that happen. I think the world is going to be a really messy place when that is the case. No one
trusts America anymore. Let's read the chat. What's the chat saying about that? Time to get the hell out of Dodge. Yeah, man. A lot of people are saying, no, we don't run. We got to stand up. Okay, we got to fix America. Maybe that's the case. Maybe that's what we need. Maybe we need people to fix it. Maybe this channel's helping the 36 consecutive concurrent viewers that are watching. I'd like to get this out to more people. If you guys could like, share, subscribe, check your notifications and whatnot as well. That'd be great. Support the channel if you can. We need to get this out. Everything I'm covering here, they're not playing on mainstream media. I know they're not. I know there's a lot of people out there that need a news source too, and I'm fucking new at this, guys. There's so many better people out there than me, but I'm passionate about this. I love doing it. I'm super happy that I'm doing this right now. A lot of people are. I've got a lot of positive feedback from people I know. They're like, I can't wait till you stream. When you streaming next? And I don't have a set schedule. So thank you guys, the hardcore ones, for being here. Was it 10:30 p.m. Pacific? We're gonna keep covering this shit until it goes away, I guess. But yeah, man, this is America now. Nobody trusts America. That particular clip like hit hard for me. Like, we used to be the bastion of freedom, and fuck, we're not that anymore. Now it's Ukraine. Ukraine's really the leader of the free world right now. Leaves something to be desired for me. Let's get a little satire.
Operation Midnight Hammer?
I came up with that.
Why?
I say it when I'm leaving the bar. Who wants this Midnight Hammer?
Okay, I'm a little pissed off about this because I like Tito's.
Surprise, Iran! You didn't see those airstrikes coming?
We knew. That's why we moved away our nuclear equipment.
How did Pete Exit text you?
We saw you moving your stealth bombers.
If you could see them, the stealth isn't working.
The stealth applies to radar detection.
What's next? Camo doesn't make you invisible either?
Sir, I thought you said no new wars.
I said no. New wars!
And we are not at war with Iran. We're not. We're at war with their nuclear program. That's the stupidest thing I've heard today. You didn't even tell us you were doing this.
I never asked for consent for anything.
Donald, I love you more than J.D. Vance loves sofas.
All because I finished your attacks on Iran?
Finished? There is so much more country to destroy.
Iran, now we've bombed you. It's time for peace.
Or we retaliate. That'll be the biggest mistake you ever made. Who said that? Me, down here. And now I'm meeting with Putin.
Vladimir, how could you?
I'm only showing him how to conduct cyber attacks. And we're going to close the strait.
Richard Don Quixote says, beware any MAGA coworkers. Seriously, don't talk your personal plans and biz with them. Okay. Someday I'll share a story, but not now. But yeah, I feel that.
Strait of Hormuz.
Is that bad?
20% of the world's oil supply is at risk.
At least it's straight.
And I'm really worried China is going to invade Taiwan now.
Why?
Because this attack might show them that war crimes are okay.
I guess all that's left to say is thank you, God, for blessing me.
Yeah, I don't know you.
Damn. What a good skit. Oh, shit. That part of the end really gets me. We got more. We got more, guys. Let's keep going. Fuck
The
it.
White House today has been arguing that the U.S. strikes on Iran's nuclear facilities were
I don't know you.
targeted, that this is about ending Iran's nuclear program, not about regime change. But just moments ago, President Trump posted on social media, quote, "It's not politically correct to use the term regime change, but if the current Iranian regime is unable to make Iran great again, why wouldn't there be a regime change?" Now, the strikes overnight were a huge gamble. President Trump has vowed to end wars, not to get involved in them, but at the same time, he's long said that Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon. The extent to which that was achieved remains to be seen, but this is what we do know about what's being called Operation Midnight Hammer. This was highly complex. This was a high-risk mission. It involved decoys. It took months of planning, according to the Department of Defense, as the U.S. military was positioning assets in the region. The military used B-2 bombers to drop 30,000-pound bunker-busting bombs used for the first time in history. And we're also learning more about what led to this decision. Now, remember that on Thursday, Trump had said that he was going to give himself 2 weeks to make the decision. But then the strikes happened just 2 days later. Behind the scenes, the president had still been trying to pursue a diplomatic solution as the Pentagon was preparing for these strikes. In fact, we're told by U.S. officials that Trump and Turkey's president had tried to organize a meeting between U.S. and Iranian officials in Istanbul, but those plans fell through because the supreme leader went into hiding and couldn't be reached to approve the meeting, so that never happened. So the question here is to what extent the damage was actually done. President Trump said that the nuclear facilities, Iran's, were obliterated, but Israeli sources have told us that the goal was to degrade, not to destroy. I spoke to some experts, including to former Pentagon and CIA official Mick Mulroy, who tells me that the U.S. military operation, quote, likely set back the Iranian nuclear weapons program by 2 to 5 years based on the type and amount of munitions used, but noted that we do need to see the full battlefield assessment to really determine exactly how much the degradation was. Now, the big question, of course, is what happens next. Iran has vowed retaliation. The question is, did this U.S. military operation end this conflict? Did it start another one, or did it escalate the existing one?
So the question was, Mitch Ashton said, didn't America put in this regime? The answer was from Nira, no, the U.S. put in the Shah regime. That was like back in the 80s, right? And they were like extremely corrupt, and they got chased out, right? That's when like the revolution took place, and that's when the super ultra Islamic State government ran in, if I'm correct. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe that us putting someone in, they were like some weird sheiks and bullshit, super corrupt. It had like sort of the feel of like Ukraine before they were liberated. Sort of the same vibes, if I'm correct. And that's where the stigma came between our nations. And that's kind of what happened from what I get. Correct me if I'm wrong. I could be completely wrong on that. But I feel like that was sort of the state of affairs. Let's see, where else we got? Where'd I go? Where am I lost? Oh. I'm not lost. I'm not lost. Right here.
There still is a lot of public anger unloading here on the streets of Tehran. Thousands of people have come here to Revolution Square, first and foremost to criticize U.S. President Trump and to vow revenge for those strikes on Iran's nuclear facilities. One of the interesting things that we're seeing on
That's
the
roughly it,
ground
okay.
here is that it's not only conservatives and hardliners who are here, but also people who say they're normally quite critical of the Iranian government.
Even if missiles rain down on my head, I will stay here, she says, and I will sacrifice my life and my blood for my country. This member of parliament says a lot of those standing here chanting slogans against the United States may have been critics of the policies of the Islamic Republic. But today, all of us are standing in one line behind the supreme leader.
People now chanting death to America here at Revolution Square, and you can really feel how angry a lot of them are towards President Trump. Of course, the Iranian government has said that it reserves the right to retaliate for those strikes on the nuclear facilities, saying that it is their right to have nuclear enrichment. It is their right to have a nuclear program, and it's not something that they're going to allow the Trump administration to take away from them. And that is certainly also the sentiment that we're seeing here on the streets of Tehran. Fred Blanket, CNN, Tehran.
Well, there it is. More people chanting death to America.
A senior Iranian lawmaker now reporting that in what they call a decisive response to U.S. aggression.
This is going to have huge impact on our gas prices.
Against, again, what they call Iran's peaceful nuclear facilities, the Iranian parliament has voted to close the strategically vital Strait of Hormuz.
This is one of the ways that Iran can strike at the United States and the West as a whole.
Israel and the United States will definitely make sure that doesn't happen, and it's going to escalate things for sure.
Dramatically, with immediate effect. The effect this would have, if it's verified, on oil prices will be felt in markets, I would think, starting on Monday.
A senior Iranian lawmaker now reporting that...
Oh, boy. Can't wait for July and August to come. Damn. Damn. We're almost there. No, we got more. We're not even there yet. We're right here.
Well, it happened. Trump just struck 3 nuclear facilities in Iran. And I don't think most of you understand what that means. That means we just committed an act of war as the United States of America. Because Israel wanted us to. Because it's the tough thing to do. I remember Trump, when Obama was president, saying that only a weak president would attack Iran to draw the attention off of himself or to cover up the fact that he was a bad president. And look at what just happened. I hope to see all you Trump supporters who are really gung-ho to go fight American protesters. Yeah, I hope I see you down at the United States Military Recruiting Office for the Army, Navy, Air Force, Space Force, whatever you'd like to join. But I have a feeling that your bone spurs are going to start acting up, and somehow you're going to get out of it. And you're to cry about some reason why you can't go and serve and fight the war that you just supported. Because I want you to understand, there will be a war. Iran has already said it. They have said the United States president has started it, but we will finish it. That's not propaganda. That is what they have said. And it blows my mind that all of you on the right side or the conservative side or the red side or whatever side you want to call your little cult believe that that was the right move. Because I don't think you understand what's about to happen. Remember what happened last time we accused the Middle East of having weapons of mass destruction? Yeah, we were pulled into a 20-year-long war. A war that when we ended it, and then Joe Biden officially pulled out of Afghanistan, he was criticized for. He did not do it correctly. I have a lot of issues with how he did that. But I did not think that within 3 years, we would be going directly back there to fight another war that we have no business in. A war driven by Israel. A war driven by warmongers who are trying to make a buck. Because I don't think you understand who supports Iran. Because if you're cheering for this, you don't understand what this means. Russia supports Iran. China supports Iran. And all the countries that Russia and China support Iran. That's a lot. This is an issue. And you better be just as prepared to fight as you were prepared to go hurt innocent American civilians protesting this tyrannical regime who is trying to destroy this country. I don't think you understand. the level of stupidity that this egomaniac has caused. Because it's not them who's going to pay the price. They're people like me and you. It's the young. It's our next generation. It's our infrastructure. It's our families. It's not their families. You think a single Trump child or relative is going to serve in the United States military? No. They're going to line their pockets or sit behind a desk. Yeah, those 4 tech CEOs that the Army just made a disgrace of themselves by enlisting them as officers at Lieutenant Colonel. Yeah, those guys, they'll be fine. They'll be tucked away and they'll be safe. And it'll be your sons, daughters, brothers, sisters, husbands, wives that get killed because of this asshole's ego. We do not need another 20-year war for no reason. And let me be clear on this. This war is different from the Afghanistan or Iraq war. The war on terrorism, it is different. This is a much more capable military, backed by a much more capable military, by world powers. And you think this is a time to celebrate. Remember a couple days ago when I talked about fucking around and finding out? We're all about to find out. It's not going to be good. It could be catastrophic. It can completely change the way we live, the way the world runs, and not for the better. And this is all because this small-handed man has never been able to broker a deal or a negotiation in his life. And he is putting all of your lives on the line and using us like pawns. This isn't political, these are facts. This is what I studied. This is what I've been worried about waking up to, or checking my phone or my TikTok and seeing, or, you know, all the messages I've gotten today on my birthday of me like, oh shit, we just bombed Iran. This isn't good. Well, one good thing is to come out of this. 2-7, you're about to go get some like you wanted to. And you're about to leave LA. You're about to see all these ICE and other federal agents. Yeah, they're not going to have time to deport people anymore because they're going to be busy. They're going to be real busy. Or will they? We'll see. We'll see what happens, because I have a feeling that Trump might capitalize on this time and start taking out everyone he doesn't agree with. Everyone that doesn't agree with him. People like me, people like you, people like your neighbors, your bosses, your cousins, your sisters, your mothers, all of the people that won't bow down to him. He's going to cause a world war. If he hasn't already, it'll be soon. I hope you're prepared. Sergeant Rob. Yeah. I'll be running for office if there's still one to have after all of this. Well, it happened. Trump just struck.
Let's pay attention to Sergeant Rob. Fuck. Even the fucking Pope hates this motherfucker.
Si seguono notizie allarmanti dal Medio Oriente.
Steve, it was that particular clip that was quiet, so I had to turn up like 200%. It is what it is.
Soprattutto dall'Iran. In questo scenario drammatico che include Israele e Palestina, rischia.
So, do I have to read this? I'll read it for you guys. Alarming news flows from the Middle East.
Seguono notizie allarmanti dal Medio Oriente, soprattutto
especially Iran.
Dall'Iran. In questo
in this dramatic scenario,
scenario drammatico che include
which includes Israel and Palestine,
Israele e Palestina, rischia di cadere
the daily suffering of the population,
in oblio la sofferenza quotidiana della popolazione,
risk being forgotten,
specialmente
especially in Gaza and other territories,
Gaza e negli altri territori dove l'urgenza di un
where the urgency for adequate humanitarian support
adeguato sostegno umanitario si fa sempre
is becoming more and more pressing.
più pressante. La guerra non
War does not solve problems.
risolve I problemi, anzi li
On the contrary, it amplifies them
amplifica e produce ferite
and produces deep wounds in the history of the people,
profonde nella storia dei popoli, che impiegano
which takes generations to heal.
generazioni per rimarginarsi. Nessuna vittoria armata
No armed victory can compensate for the pain of mothers.
potrà compensare il dolore delle madri, la paura dei
The fear of children, the stolen future.
bambini, il futuro rubato. Che la diplomazia
May diplomacy silence weapons.
faccia tacere le armi. Che le nazioni
May nations shape their future with works of peace.
tracino il loro futuro con opere di pace, non con la violenza
Not violence and bloody conflicts.
e conflitti sanguinosi.
Well, thoughts and prayers from the Pope. I don't know if that's going to do much. Thoughts and prayers.
Regarding Donald Trump joining Israel.
We already covered that earlier. A little Bernie time. Bernie found out about the bombings.
This is a statement from Donald Trump. Quote, "We have completed our very successful attack on the 3 nuclear sites in Iran," etc. This news that I just heard, the second alarming that all of you have just heard, but it is so grossly unconstitutional. All of you know that the only entity that can take this country to war is the U.S. Congress. The president does not have the right.
More to come from Bernie. Still up, kicking, coherent. Showing us how it's done at his age. I mean, fuck.
While President Trump was elected on a platform of putting an end to America's costly
Good for you, Adam.
of forever
GGs.
wars in our part of the world, he has betrayed not only Iran by abusing our commitment to diplomacy, but also deceived his own voters by submitting to the wishes of a wanted war criminal who has grown accustomed to exploiting the lives and wealth of American citizens to further the Israeli regime's objectives. The U.S. act of aggression against Iran's peaceful nuclear facilities constitutes not only a flagrant breach of the UN Charter, especially the prohibition of the use of force under Article 2, Paragraph 4, and the obligation to respect the state's territorial integrity and sovereignty, but also a violation of UN Security Council Resolution 2231. It cannot be emphasized enough how much of a devastating blow that the US, a permanent member of the Security Council, has dealt to the global non-proliferation regime. While President Trump...
A little bit from Iran. Still mixed feelings for me on a lot of parts. Here's Tulsi Gabbard getting told she was wrong.
President Trump on Iran tonight. His new words late today. And tonight, the president now pushing back against his own director of national intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard. She recently said the intelligence community has no evidence that Iran is building a nuclear weapon right now. The president tonight saying she's wrong. ABC's Rachel Scott at the White House tonight.
Tonight, as President Trump decides whether the U.S. will take direct action on Iran, the president clearly showing today he does not agree with his director of national intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard, who said in recent weeks the intelligence community has no evidence Iran is building a nuclear weapon at this point.
What intelligence do you have that Iran is building a nuclear weapon? Your intelligence community has said they have no evidence that they are at this point.
Well, then my intelligence community is wrong. Who in the intelligence community said that?
Your director of national intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard.
She's wrong.
In the days leading up to Israel's first strikes on Iran, the president's director of national intelligence, in a very rare move, posted a video of her own, appearing to warn against any escalation.
As we stand here today, closer to the brink of nuclear annihilation than ever before, political elite and warmongers are carelessly fomenting fear and tensions between nuclear powers. And perhaps it's because they are confident that they will have access to nuclear shelters for themselves and for their families that regular people won't have access to. So it's up to us, the people, to speak up and demand an end to this madness. We must reject this path to nuclear war.
Sources tell ABC News the president scolded Gabbard.
Holy fuck. The power of aloha coming through? What is going on?
And wish she used better judgment. We're told she has still participated in intelligence briefings in the Oval Office and is part of the president's national security team.
She was not there in the Situation Room when this attack happened.
In the Situation Room. A source familiar saying in the room, Gabbard argued that Tehran is not close to building a bomb, reaffirming her Capitol Hill testimony just months ago.
I heard she wasn't even there.
IC continues to assess that Iran is not building a nuclear weapon.
The president in recent days clearly frustrated that his director of national intelligence has not appeared to be in lockstep with him.
I don't care what she said. I think they were very close to having.
Tonight, President Trump doubling down his 2-week deadline for Iran before he decides on U.S. military action. Meanwhile, European leaders meeting today with Iran's foreign minister in Geneva, trying to come up with some sort of diplomatic
Tulsi Gabbard ousted, Steve Bannon in. Is that next?
Solution. Our Tom Sufi Burge is there.
The talks here wrapping up. No major breakthroughs, but the Europeans pressing Iran to return to negotiations with the U.S.
The president tonight appearing to brush off the efforts by European leaders.
Iran doesn't want to speak to Europe. They want to speak to us. Europe is not going to be able to help in this one.
And the president saying if the U.S. does take direct action, it will not include U.S. boots on the ground.
Well, I'm not going to talk about ground forces. The last thing you want to do is ground force.
David, the White House tonight telling us the president has full confidence in his national security team, calling Gabbard an important part of that. And David, Tulsi Gabbard responding herself tonight, suggesting there is no daylight between her and the president, David.
Rachel Scott there at the White House. Rachel.
I feel there might be a little daylight there, guys. Oh, boy. Couple more left. Now we're going to cut the news. That's gone on for a while. Let's see what I got on Instagram. I want to talk a little bit about Car for Ukraine coming up. I had a couple clips for Ukraine. Not a lot. Not a lot. A little bit. Let's see if I can find it. Dude, I suck at using Instagram. Yeah, here's one that's really bothered me, actually. Yeah, we got a few. We're gonna play some Ukrainian stuff. We got Car for Ukraine coming up here soon. Me and Canty do. With the donor box, right? What, July 1st? I think we're talking about July 1st. That's when it's gonna start. A lot going on. Here's my buddy right here, Maxime. spend the night in Kyiv in the subway. Maxime is an amazing human. He hooked me up with Natalia to interview the other day. I can't even play that. It breaks my heart.
Слухайте його.
Мам, привет, это я, Антон. Да, мам, повернусь.
Всім сусідів радуються за нас радуються всі. Ой, Боже, сонечко, вийди такий.
We are at the site of a truly historic moment, the largest prisoner exchange between Ukraine and Russia since the war began in 2014. It was agreed upon during the Istanbul peace talks earlier in May.
Скільки ви не бачились? 22 місяці, навіть більше. Ми бачилися останній раз
У квітні.
У квітні. У нас була розпись. Ми одружувалися.
Слава Україні! Героям слава! Хлопці, ми вами пишаємось! Любимо вас! Ми все вас чекали і будемо чекати до останнього нашого воїна!
Дякуємо! Дякуємо!
Pretty touching clip of the largest prisoner exchange. Let's see what else I can play here. This really pissed me off when I saw the dogs that were getting bombed too, but this dog managed to make it.
Крам, ты живой! Ужас!
Иди сюда.
Крам живой!
Крам живой.
Крам, ты живой!
And the aftershock of what it looks like for a dog to go through a shelling. Guys, we have a Car for Ukraine fundraiser coming up. Keep that in mind, please. Also, Kalen got proposed to. Kalen is the dude. He is the man. He has confronted so many fucking Russian bots in real life.
So last night
This guy got proposed to in Ukraine, which is amazing because I love this kid to death. He's amazing.
proposed to here in Kyiv, in Ukraine, by a boy. I never thought this city would be the city that I got proposed to by anyone, actually. But it kind of makes sense because this is the city that I fell in love with more than any place I've ever been to in my life. I first arrived in Ukraine in 2023 and it was Valentine's Day, and I saw people holding flowers and kissing each other and holding hands everywhere here in Kyiv.
Because love is victory.
Because it's my power.
And I was confused. I was like, how could people still continue love despite such horror around them? And after living here for 2 years now, I've realized what this place really is, and it's love and it's beauty. And I can't believe, again, that this is somewhere that someone's just proposed to me. The most beautiful boy in the world, in the most beautiful city in the world. And I advise every single person watching this video, if you've never been to Ukraine, you have to come to this city because it's the most magical place on the planet. And you'll find love in every single corner of this city.
of this country.
Well, I'm going to wish Kalen the best for that. That's amazing for him. I love seeing that kid happy, man. We're going to cut at that. I don't think we need more than that. That was pretty cool. It's good to see. I like seeing that kid happy. He's an amazing human. So shout out to him. Shout out to everybody who's been here all the way through this. Guys, it's late for me. I should be in bed already. So thank you for being here. Please, while I got you guys, join the pinned channel. Please subscribe to Chungus Gaming. I moved my gaming channel over there. I wanted to keep this one strictly news and politics. I want to expand it. I need to, really. And also, I want more people to come here because we have the C4U fundraiser coming up, which is huge, and I don't want to put too much burden on you guys because I know it's 11,000 euros we're going to raise for this vehicle. And shit, I got 31 people on tonight, right? So if you guys can, share it out, like the stream. I'm doing everything I can for the algorithm at this point. We have to get this fundraiser complete coming up. Yeah, more to that to come. I need sleep. Holy cow, I stayed up so late with you guys. Thank you for being here. I saw the chat was off the hook tonight. Love you guys to death. Join the Discord. It's all pinned in the chat. Also, please, before you leave a comment. Guys, leave a comment after the stream, like right after this concludes. It helps the algorithm so much, especially with lives. And yeah, that's all I got for you. 3 hours here. That went longer than I thought. I had more stuff saved than I thought I would. And I'm glad. This was a good stream. Chill. I know a lot on Iran and a lot of mixed feelings. I just feel the way we went about this, it could have been better. I don't feel like we really tried diplomacy. I think he did this attack too soon. And yeah, I'd love for them to stop sending Shahed drones to Russia. But I still feel for the people. I do. There's a lot of good people there. It's a huge country. 92 million. Tell me there's not 100,000 people there that don't love freedom and democracy. And it's a shame to see, guys. It really is. But anyways, thank you for being here again. Like I said, comment after the stream. Make sure notifications are on. I'll have more to come. This is the busiest time for the year to me. I'll do what I can when I can, but please bear with me if I go a little while without a stream. All right. Talk to you guys later. Take care. I love you.
They wave their flags like they own the sky, shouting loud, but they don't know why. Books untouched, their minds run dry. Truth's a stranger, they pass right by. Oh, false flags flying high, empty hearts where the truth won't lie. They scream of love for the land they claim, but their wicked deeds bring only shame. But their wicked deeds bring only shame. But their wicked deeds bring only shame. They chant the words they barely know, hollow pride in a shallow show, pointing fingers where the winds don't blow, building walls where the rivers flow. Oh, false flags flying high, empty hearts where the truth won't lie. They scream of love for the land they claim, but their wicked deeds bring only shame. But their wicked deeds bring only shame. But their wicked deeds bring only shame. A patriot's heart should beat with grace, not with fists or a hate-filled face. If love's the seed, then let it grow, not in shadows, but where light will show. Oh, false flags flying high,
Why would you think Michelle Obama's a man?
Well, do a little research. Just do a little research.
But that's like out there.
What's out there is the fact that her walking out in a skirt, and there's an obvious bulge where there shouldn't be one.
Another day. Just run till you take your last breath. There's no time to sit around being lazy. Renegade chunk is gonna grind out daisy. Survival schemes, raiding dreams like you don't care. Zombies scrubbing on some bodies like a nightmare. Grabbing loot in the spawn might just fight there. And the goons shooting at me, yeah, we're out there. Keep the feet dry, light a fire if you're crazy. Survivors out there shooting, yeah, that's day. They try to take my loot, but I'm fast and I'm sneaky. Hearing footsteps in the woods, yeah, that's creepy. But I'm a wolf and all of you looking sheepy. Knock you one gun, now you feeling little sleepy. Waking up, your loot's gone, don't go crazy. Another day, another death, yeah, that's Daisy. Hear the bullets crack by your head, make you screech. Run, cover, keep your gun by your reach. Wear your armor and a helmet is what we preach. Or get your ass sent back to the beach. Clean your water, cook your food, wash your hands. Keep one eye on the bad guy and your friends. Watch for killers who shoot at you through a lens. But this is how the story ends.